I'm back with another game of Mage Knight Solo Conquest. After my last 11-11 attempt, I did as usual roll between the other 6 heroes that I not play, and it came up as Tovak, and then filled the spot with Goldex, which I played last time, rolled again, and it came up with Wolfhawk, so my decision was between these 2 heroes. Tovak has been my dummy for the last 2 games, but I went with Wolfhawk nevertheless because I like to play her more currently. And I haven't played her since starting again with these sessions, so I'm really looking forward to a nice Wolfhawk game. I'm going with another Solo Conquest to push the limits a bit. I've never played with Megalopolis, so I really want to get that started. But I will in the future play these scenarios again, play with Volcar, play the 3rd expansion scenarios, which I also like a lot. The new enemies especially, and the tokens you get add a lot to the game. But for now, let's stick to Solo Conquest. And I'm this time going for city levels of 12 and 14, so a little bit staggered. So up to now I've played 10-10 and 11-11, where the first and the second city are actually as hard. But I feel like I should spread it out a little when I'm going this deep, so 12-14 sounds quite reasonable. I will have 7 or 8 tokens instead of 5, even in the first city. But then again, many of these tokens will not be white tokens, but even down to regular keep enemies. So I feel like overall, this might not even increase difficulty too much. So these are famous last words, obviously. But I really think that if you go down to these levels of tokens, there are many tokens which are not that hard to deal with because they either have good defense or good offense, but never all of them. And if you draw a widespread variety of tokens, then there will be prime candidates to just kill from afar. And you really have to, in a city assault with these levels, you have to use range attack with some way of removing fortification or siege attack. So we'll see how it goes, but let's go with 12-14. As usual, I'm playing with random tile orientation. I'm playing with control over the offers. I will play with random city colors. I still like that, even though now we are rolling 2, of course. I think the combination of Megalopolis and random tile orientation is that I first place it as in the rules to the right and then orient a tile. So that might actually rotate the outer city towards me, but I have to do it in some way. So this is how I fix it. And I think that's it as far as modifications or variants go. Let's look at the setup. For the advanced actions, we have Refreshing Walk, an all-time favorite of mine, which I used last game as well, where you can walk away from a hard battle and heal at the same time. Especially if you take it from level up, this will really help your next turn. Then Training. If you want to see something like this, it's in the opening offer, not late in the game. Training is the version which does not use influence, so this is interesting. And then we have Intimidate, which I always like because it's a lot of attack, but it's also a lot of influence. But you have to keep in mind that it ruins your reputation, obviously. For the spells, we have Snowstorm, which is overall solid, can be good early on, and in City Assault at night, it provides siege attack 8, which is nothing to scoff at. Meditation can prolong your game, but I'm not too fond of it. Could be interesting. And then we have Chill or Lethal Chill. It's not a scaling spell, let's put it like this. I think it's also quite interesting, especially the lethal chill part, but then again it only works against 1 token. As does Tornado, which I played last time. But again, chill is blue, Tornado is white, which makes a huge difference when it comes to resistances. The unit offer has the Foresters, which are solid really, Magic Familiars, which are expensive. This is why I don't like them too much. They are quite flexible, but they really eat up a lot of mana, which you have to get somewhere. Well, you can technically recruit them at a glade where you do get a gold token, so this alleviates a bit the burden on the mana when recruiting them there. We will see if this makes sense. And there are the Scouts, which I adore. They are just so solid for a level 1 unit, fairly cheap, can be hired everywhere. Have siege attack. Any amount of range or siege can help, can make the difference. They give you movement, you can reveal further away. And you could even look at a dungeon enemy, for example, to see if you want to go into an adventure side where you draw tokens. And if you defeat it, you even get some fame. So I really like the versatility of the Scouts. As for the starting map, it turns out that both tiles were rotated 180 degrees. So this is quite interesting, which means the keep is now facing me instead of the village. There's a white mine. The keep defenders I do not see yet. But if I step to the forest or the plains here, I will see them immediately. And I could even take a keep to level up, because the orcs that we have here are only fame 2, so they won't let me level, which is unfortunate. There is a glade, though, in front of them, and which means we could maybe hire the magic familiars there. And then there is an ancient ruined with 3 green enemies, where the reward is a unit, which is quite interesting. But we do only have one command slot, so if we, for example, hire the familiars to then defeat the ancient ruins, I'm not sure with 3 green enemies we can level twice. This would need 8. Well, then again, usually the average is like something like 3 fame, so 8 is even if you are drawing tokens like 2. So I should level. This makes it quite more interesting, because then one possible way would be to pick up the familiars and then go to the ruins and level with those. Unfortunately, if I go this way, I will provoke the orcs, which will then mean that I have to kill them in a turn without even fighting the ruins, and I won't level for this. It will just cost you resources. So in this direction, we then have a village where we could also hire both the foresters and the scouts, but it's in swampland, but it might be a continuation after the ruins. But then again, if I do the ruins, I will have a unit anyway, and it's quite unlikely that I will have the command slots to pick something up. The completely alternative route would be to take the keep, level with this. So for keep enemies, they should always give at least 3 fame. So this would make me level, and then I have a hand size increase, and I can push towards the mine, for example, pick up a white crystal and just explore, and just ignore the other side of the map. And I think that's already quite a decision where to go. The starting hand gives me improvisation and march. March especially good in the opening hand, so you can get anywhere, so you have to move in your first turn, obviously. Then we do have mana draw, concentration, and swift reflexes right away. That means we have a range attack of 5, but for these orcs even 3 is enough, and again they won't make me level. And for the keep it's most likely irrelevant to have range attack, so that's a bit sad. But that's pretty much the opening situation. So we have to figure out what the most optimal way is here with the existing hand, augmented by a tactic, or if we want to rethink and then shuffle back some of the cards. The problem really is that I won't have time to do both. So either I go to the keep and then only see what the token is. Well, I could go to the forest, look at the token, and then consider if I want to push through to the glade or take the keep. That would be the options here. If I go to the glade, I will probably want to hire the magic familiars because they will help with taking the ancient ruins. If I go to the keep, I can only hire the scouts, but then again they are nice enough, and I can even pick up the foresters in the village, but I won't have a second slot unless I level twice, and there's currently no fame here, so I would rely on revealing something. I think I like the prospect of leveling twice with the ruins and picking up a unit. That sounds quite efficient. So one goal of the first day is always to level up at least once, hire something, and then maybe pick up a spell or an artifact if there's a dungeon or any other like good cards. So having 2 units, leveling twice, it's already quite good, although I do not get an artifact or a spell by this, obviously. And picking up a level 1 unit from the ruins feels a bit bad, but there are no like really good alternatives here. An opening move could be to go to the glade and then use Swift Reflex to just kill the orc. I will have, if I go this direction, I have to kill it anyway. Otherwise I can't traverse this tile, I would have to backtrack. So maybe getting it out the way is good, but it's a bit sad to use the concentration swiftness combination, although I might redraw the other swiftness. So I feel like I'm gravitating towards this direction of taking these ruins. If I take Mana Steal, for example, I could use red and white because I need 5 move to get to the glade, and I could do this with improvisation, for example, then use the swift reflexes to kill the orc. But then again, why would I use 2 mana for a turn where I'm not battling 3 of the enemies? I should really spend the mana in the battle then. Maybe the play here is to go to the ruins first, level up, and trying to kill them all, obviously, without any units, and then take the familiars as a reward. But I don't have a mana if I get them as a reward. I think I can't even get them. Yes, so I can't get them outside of interaction. Even though, funnily enough, recruiting them at the glade is not considered interaction, reputation is irrelevant. But yeah, so I have to hire them regularly, so I can't get them as a reward, which leaves the foresters and the scouts, which are level 1 enemies. It sounds a bit sad, to be honest, but it's just so much fame. I could then continue to the glade, provoking the other orcs, and then from there push towards the middle, revealing stuff, maybe then hire the familiars, but I would have to do the battle without any units. But that could mean that I push through to the ruins and then fight them the next turn. I don't have green mana to power march, so that's one of the bad things. I do not want to use this for movement, which means since I need 5 movement anyway, I will probably play this for the 5 movement to just go to the ruins. That gives me an excellent hand for the fight, and if I level twice I can even take refreshing walk and I won't have a problem with wounds. if I just need to spend everything to kill them. If I use mana draw to put a die to green, I will even have green after the fight, and I can power concentration, so I would benefit from something else that's green. From a tactics perspective, I probably then would not use mana steal. After rerolling the red die, I have a chance to hit gold or green. That's 1 in 3. I don't need rethink. Early bird definitely not, so I could use planning to then draw up to 6 cards for the ruins. The great start, as I always say in these sessions, if I take this now and then play 2 cards, I won't even draw anything. So the whole point is gone. I would have to power through and do the battle right away, but then I lack the mana. So I like it more to make it 2 steps. So that pretty much leaves the planning. Not sure if it's crazy to attempt 3 enemies without a unit, but I feel like I have good firepower and I will have 3 additional cards. So yeah, I think I will go with planning, even though the dummy will probably go before me. So let's see what the dummy then eliminates from the tactic pool. So the dummy goes with the right moment. I consider that lucky because I will now have more time in the first day, and that's not a tactic I will ever take because in solo it is quite pointless. So the order is Wolfhawk then Trovak, so I will make my first turn now. As planned, I'm taking the source die to power improvisation, and I do skip the march to go to 5 movement. So Wolfhawk steps through the portal, goes through the plains, and then onwards to the ancient ruins. Let's move that over here. I will not attempt the orcs because I think it's a waste of resources at this point. I think I'd rather cross over here, provoke them after having leveled. And I think that's it for the first turn, so I will reroll the die. And it does indeed come up green. I consider that quite lucky. So these 2 are discarded. And due to planning, I will draw up to 6 cards. So the additional cards are a march, a determination, that's quite interesting, and a swiftness. Interesting. So let's move that over here. And then it's the dummy's first turn, and he plays green, red, and white, which he does not have a crystal of. So Trovak has 2 blue and a red one. So again, quite lucky. So I'm already feeling lucky. I hope my luck doesn't run out too quickly. All right, so this is the moment of truth when we enter these ancient ruins and draw 3 green enemies. I don't think this allows me to provoke them. If I would have even more power, but I don't think I have that much power, to be honest. So I think I'm quite content, but I think I can only provoke them in a fight, like in an if I assault a fortified site, something like this, not if I'm using an adventure site. All right, so let's see what the tokens are. We do have catapults. That's not good. That's not a token I want to see. Then we have diggers, and the final token are wolf riders. So 2 of the tokens are actually fortified. That's a bit unlucky. And in total it's 9 fame. That at least is quite good. So we can't group the enemies to kill more than 1 with ranged because of the fortification. Due to the physical resistance of the catapults, I need 4 attack for those. And the really sad thing is that I need all these attacks separately. If I want to kill them in range, I cannot group them with another token. I cannot group them because of the physical resistance, which means that I really need individual damage 4, 3, and 4. So in total 11. But I should have maybe known, looking at my hand, that it might be hard to come up with so much damage. So with the concentration and these 2 cards, the maximum I can actually achieve is 8. So I can't kill all of them, which I think is not a big deal, to be honest. And since I have only 2 cards that can actually provide attack, I have to increase 1 to actually produce these 8 attack. And again, because yeah, it's a bit sad. Let's put it like this. But I will probably kill those in range and then use another swiftness to kill those in the melee phase. So I have to leave them be for the time being, which will mean that I will level at least. So to deal with the catapults, because they do a lot of damage, I could use March with determination, but I might need too much mana, to be honest. I do have access to 2 source dice, but I would need a blue, a white, and a green. I think what's pretty much set already is that I need to power them both so I can actually deal some damage and kill things, because if I just kill 1 token, I will have to deal with the damage again, so that's not a good thing. So in this sense, I have to use mana draw to pull a green and a white die, and I will have range attack 4. No, I will have range attack 5 and range attack 3. So this can kill the wolf riders, and this unfortunately can only kill the diggers after I have taken their damage. Oh, actually I can't generate attack. I'm a bit stupid. So determination is not only good at blocking, it can also produce attack too. Can we do anything with this? Well, it could mean that I can kill the diggers actually without the mana. So it's just, in quotes, the determination and the sideways swiftness to come up with the 3 damage. So I can still kill these 2. I would still take the damage here. But I can then use the mana draw with the white die to produce 2 green tokens. So I will probably take the green die and make it green to preserve the blue, but I then can power the concentration and the march. Unfortunately, the march only reduces by 4, so again 3. This will mean I will still take 4 wounds. I am quite unlucky with the fortifications here. I really want to bring it down to 3 wounds, because then on leveling I can take the refreshing walk, go over to the glade and get rid of 2 wounds and even get rid of the last one. It would provoke the next enemy, but depending on what I draw, well, I won't have planning, and with 3 wounds I'm only drawing 2 cards. So I think it's safe to assume that I should probably have gone with the Magic Familiar play and recruit them first, then go there. But I think I had a quite good starting hand to attempt something more ambitious, because I did have range attack 8 in total. That is usually enough to kill 2 tokens at range, but unfortunately 2 are fortified and 1 is physical resistant, so that's really unfortunate. This is really a very bad combination of tokens. If I group them, they share the physical resistance. If I group them, they share the fortification. So let's consider a completely different approach. Maybe there's something that I missed. For example, even though it sounds highly efficient, I can use Swift Reflexes just with a white mana to bring the range attack to 4. So the point here is that I save a mana, since the Swift Reflexes can produce a range attack just like this, and this kills it just with 1 mana. So that's the point here. Then, for example, to kill the diggers, I can use the determination and any card sideways. But the problem remains that with all these odd amounts of attack, I get like a rounded up number of wounds. So 2 and 4, that is 6 wounds in total if I don't do anything against that. And the catapult is cumbersome, and I do have a move card, so I should use that. This at least brings it down to 3 wounds. But if I don't use the Swift Reflex to reduce this by 1, so that's a total of 4, but I'm using the only damage cards I have. So this doesn't sound efficient at all. And even though it's 2 cards and a mana, this would defeat the Wolf Riders, sorry. If I do it like this, to even have a second mana, I do need a mana draw. So we would be back to this. This at least brings it down to 2 attacks of 3, which again is 4 wounds, unfortunately. And if I want to kill anything, I need to play these 2 cards for an attack of 3. I would really love to have 1 more attack to kill the catapults instead of the diggers. So if I do kill the catapults, I can't do it with this mana. I would have to use mana draw just to pull another die. So this would be attack 5. Inefficient comes down to 2. All these odd numbers are really really annoying, to put it mildly. So the move can still reduce the attack, but then only to 5, so I'm getting 5 wounds. This will even knock me out, will it? Yes, so if it equals or exceeds the unmodified hand limit, which is 5, I would be knocked out. So this can't even work, because I would get too many wounds. So we are back to the other plan, to generate the tokens, get the move. But I do want to kill something, so I can't reduce the damage further. I mean, just to point it out that there's other options. You can even use the mana draw to pull the blue die, power determination, and then just negate the catapult completely, and then reduce the attack of the diggers by 1, so I just get 1 wound. I will still level, and I will know exactly what I'm up against, but I will have the enemy still standing that I do have to block unless I get siege damage somewhere. But 1 wound would mean that I do not need to leave the space, and I will get a skill, and I could, for example, take Intimidate to get a lot of firepower. But again, if I can't ignore the physical resistance, grouping enemies is just highly inefficient. I would need 10 damage to kill them. So even with the attack 7 of an Intimidate, I'm still lacking 3 damage. So the best solutions we have are currently to kill 1 and level and only get 1 wound, but play a lot of cards, are out of planning, don't get the reward and are kind of stuck there, or kill 2 tokens but get 4 wounds. And it would still leave the catapults, and with 4 wounds and leveling and not having planning, I would need to take Refreshing Walk and then have a turn where I know my hand will be 4 wounds in a Refreshing Walk. And that doesn't sound like a good plan, because I can't even go to the glade then, let alone provoke the orcs here. So I think I want to try this combination, even though it's not highly efficient, which does mean I've played half my deck in day 1 just to level. Yeah. Well, we need to go on. So I think we will do it as planned like this, which means that in the range attack phase, I'm using a green die with concentrated swiftness for range attack 5, giving me 4 fame. No, of course it's 3 fame. I'm looking at the armor again, but this means we do level. And then in the attack phase, we use mana draw to pull another blue die. And with the movement 2 of March, we reduce the attack to 5 and block it. And we use this with reflexes to reduce the enemy attack by 1, so we only get 1 wound. What we can think about if we want to retain Swift Reflexes, get 2 wounds instead, because if we level up and take Refreshing Walk, provided we do have green mana, we don't know that, we could heal that and still have a good combat card available. But I think we should now talk about what we actually want to level with. Giving green cards to Tovak is quite good. He will pick up the blue crystal, because currently I'm not seeing that I get a spell. And we could even get him another blue crystal. So I think I'd rather take Intimidate so we can go on killing things. So if I'm not planning to take Refreshing Walk, and currently I really don't have to, I should probably reduce the number of wounds. Let's reduce that to 2, so we get 1 wound to hand. And these 2 enemies will then stay with the runes, and these 2 dice will be re-rolled. Unfortunately, they both come up red, and then we have played all our cards here, but we do level up. And there are some skills that can actually help Wolfhawk, so let's see what we get. So the first skill is Dueling, which gives us 1 block and 1 attack against the same enemy, which with all these odd numbers really helps, to be honest. For example, this could mean that a regular rage with this gives us 3 block. And then the same rage, or another rage gives us already, so without any mana involved, we can actually already kill this. But then again, 2 cards, 2 rages, how do we even kill this then? And the other skill is the Refreshing Bath. So it's one of the skills that heals and gives you a crystal. And I like that a lot, since we do have a wound currently in hand. And will give us more mana, more options. So currently we are only lacking green, if we all can also provide blue. So I think with Wolfhawk I'm actually quite fond of things that heal me. And since it's not a mana token, I can do this in a preparation turn or even before combat. So I think this is quite useful, even though I do like it. But yeah, I think this is exactly what we currently need. And I think I do want to pick up Intimidate, because we do have a lot of red mana now. So this seems like a good choice. So we will put this on top of the deck, and it's replaced with Shield Bash. Now that's something that would help against the physical resistant enemy. But yeah, what can you do? And Tovak's skill is his motivation skill right away. That's quite nice to have this as in the offer. So unfortunately we can't use this yet, so we have to draw first. And since planning is not active, I do draw up to 5 cards. So the Intimidate we just took, the Rage, a Threaten, and a Stamina. Alright, let's make the dummy's second turn first. He plays red, white, and blue. So 2 more cards, a green and a green. So that's quite an unfortunate pull, I think. Hitting one of the bad cards and tossing so many green and white. So he's speeding up quite a lot, I would think. So I think we should pop that right now. That seems quite obvious. We don't have the Tranquility yet. So to heal 1, throw away the wound and get our first crystal. Now this would exactly kill these 2 enemies, but we don't have, well, we would need only to power the Rage. The Intimidate with 3 attack just kills the diggers, and the 4 here would be inefficient and kill this, but we have no way to deal with the attacks. We do have the Threaten, which we can't really use, and the Stamina, which might come in handy to reduce the attack of the catapults again. But we could also think about just killing the Orcs. That would mean, well, we can't. It would be highly inefficient, I think. If we want to block the attack, we would need block 4, so that's this and 2 cards sideways, and Intimidate to kill, and we would play everything again. So we would really burn through our deck, and these cards are quite good to actually kill these enemies. So I think I have to keep it slow here, probably get rid of the Threaten, even though it hurts to lose another card, but it's currently really not helping. And then planning kicks in and we draw 3 more cards, and then we can see how we want to proceed. Moving to the Glade would be still an option, so for example for 3 movement. Then we could even throw away the wound at the end of the turn, but we would provoke it, so we would have to fight it. And moving back and forth is also not that efficient. So I think I will just remove the Threaten, but keep the Stamina, and then draw 3 cards. There are only 5 left, so this will be quite a short day then for me. But let's see what we draw here. The Tirelessness, a Tranquility, and a Crystallize. Let's see what the dummy does. Blue, that's good. Red and another blue. So that's 2 more cards, a white and a white. But I think if we have 5 cards twice and 3, there's only 3 left. So at that point it doesn't matter what the colors are. So now we have 3 turns. And by this time I think if I clear this now, I will level. I can take the Foresters, which then bring me to the Glade, just like this, because we can reduce the movement cost of Forest by 1, and they provide 2 move. And then, since we do have the Promise in the deck, we can try try to hire the magic familiars with the gold token we then get. So we can still achieve a lot at this day if this now works out with the ruins. We do have the tranquility to heal 1 wound or 2 if we use crystallize with the blue crystal that we have. So this might be able to heal 2 wounds. Then we have enough to kill them both as already laid out. So we would take a red mana from the source and the 4 attack would kill those. The 3 attack will kill those. So we have the firepower that we need, but we would again currently get like 6 wounds, 2 here, 4 there. So we do have to reduce. And I think we probably want to pay a mana here because this is a total of 6 move. But if I play the tirelessness, I can even get 7 move, which would completely negate the catapults. It's actually irrelevant in which order I play them. If I don't want to play more than 1 card for movement, it doesn't matter too much. I think I want to hold on to the crystallize because movement, as said, if I take the foresters, they can just move me to the glade. Although I do like the scouts, I think foresters are just better. They have more armor. They're much simpler, but they might be what I need here. And with this plan, I would only gain 2 wounds. So next turn we can, if we have the mana, then we can heal. So 2 wounds from the diggers again, because we still have 2 armor. And if I don't want to get any more wounds, I would play the tirelessness with the crystal to produce move 7 to just move completely out of the way of the catapults. So 4, 2, plus 1, 7. And I think that's what I need to do. So we get 2 wounds from the diggers, but this attack is down to 0. The rage will then be inefficient against physical resistance 2, kill the catapults, and the intimidate will produce attack 3, give me -1 reputation, but the attack 3 will just kill the diggers. So that's 6 fame, which brings it up to 9, and I get a reputation minus, which is not that bad, I think. The crystal is then used, and we reroll the red die. Actually, do I want to just heal a wound? I think there's no reason to play fast now, because I will have 2 more turns. So no, let's see what mana we get. So it also comes up white. So these cards are all used, but I do have 2 or more cards left. So I will draw the rest of the deck. But first let me level up and mark the ruins. And we get a unit as a reward. And I can't take the familiars as said. So scouts or foresters. The scouts alone can't bring me to the glade. So I think I want the foresters. So I'm drawing the rest of my deck, which is a rage and a promise. The dummy then plays his last cards. Again, colors do not matter because he has only 3, which brings us to our second to last turn of the first day. So I don't think I have to power the tranquility if I'm moving to the glade anyway. Problem is that I will provoke the next enemy. So I do need the foresters to move, unfortunately. That would bring me here to the glade. I will then play the rage to kill them, but a 4 attack will still be 2 wounds. But I think that's fair enough. So we are moving there, provoking them. 4 attack against 3 armor is 2 wounds to the hand. Then we power the rage for 4 attack, kill them, get 2 fame and a reputation. And since next turn we want to hire, but we can only get 4 influence, unfortunately. So you would have to play these cards sideways to hire with the magic familiars. Let's think that through. I think with the gold mana, I might actually want to use tranquility. So 1 will be healed now, 1 will be healed at the end of the next turn. And with the gold mana, with tranquility, we can just heal everything. So maybe I then just use crystallize and I can't hire the familiars. I think I was too inefficient to get to influence 6 now because I for example, tossed the threaten. So I just discard this, which is exactly the 2 influence I'm now lacking. But I think being wounds free, having 1 unit and having leveled twice and being right on the way to the next level up, starting on a glade. Well, on night it's quite pointless because I don't have a spell yet. So that's a bit sad about that. But I don't think it's worthwhile. At the end of round I would have to pay another crystal anyway, so I would have to crystallize. Yeah, and I have to battle against the orcs anyway. So okay, I moved there with the foresters because I could reduce the movement cost of forest by 1, and I produce move 2, provoke the enemy, take the wounds, spend the rage to kill them, and at the end of turn again I won't play anything. Let's reroll. Comes up gold. Dummy declares end of round, and at the end of turn I have healed the wound, and I will start the next turn with a gold token. So I think it's fair to say that I will power the tranquility with the gold token. So this is gone, throwing away 2 wounds. And at the end of turn, if I'm not moving away from the glade, I will heal another wound. And I can crystallize actually whatever I want. This is quite good that it came up gold. So I can use it like this. And the interaction falls flat, unfortunately, because for 2 influence you don't get anything. And you can't hire scouts at a glade. So I can choose a crystal, and that will be the end of the day 1. I did pick up a red card, but I don't think that the red crystal would be the right choice. I think usually you want to have green for concentration and march, because I do have to move at the beginning of the next night. I think I will move here to avoid the forest and the swamp, load up on crystals, maybe take the key, but I think I should just go on, to be honest. Maybe I can actually hire something at the village and explore here. So I should take something that allows me to improve the move cards, which is green or blue. I have a blue crystal here still, so blue is out of the question. White for mana draw to enable it would be good. So white or green, I think. Then again, red would also be improvisation. I think I will take a green crystal because it can power March. Alright, this concludes day 1. Could have been better, could have been worse. I hope I'm not misjudging this, but leveling twice and having almost enough fame to level again, just with 4 more fame, which probably is the keep, to be honest. Having a unit sounds good. Don't have a spell, don't have an artifact, so that's a setback. Yeah, let's see. So we are not re-rolling, this is quite pointless. Let's start with the dummy. He picks up a green card, which is really nice. And he picks up a blue crystal, which is also nice. It makes it a bit more swingy. But if you don't add any blue cards, statistically we are on the right track. So this was due to the snowstorm. I really don't want him to add a green crystal, so I'm getting rid of meditation with control of the offers. But I will leave him the training, obviously. So the advanced action offer refreshes to start resolve. And the spell offer now shows tremor, which is really good. So I have to take that. I also like charm and possess, but first we have to get a spell at all. So probably we should press on, not consider ourselves with the keep here. We are burning the 2 tactic cards. They are the choices for the knight. We flip to the knight side. And I hope I'm getting a good offer now. There are swordsmen, shock troops, and guardian golems. Suddenly it's quite more appealing to go to the keep, but I do want myself a spell. But I would have time to the next day to pick it up. So we are shuffling the dummy deck. That should be enough. We ready our foresters and shuffle our deck and ready our skill token. And then we draw our first hand of 5. Improvisation, tranquility, unfortunately, crystallize, okay, rage, and swift reflexes. And the source comes up red, green and blue. So what tactic to take? I want to leave preparation sparring power for the second night, usually. As usual, what would I even take with preparation and sparring power? Yeah, we don't need to build up so much for the first night. Shuffling back cards that I can draw again is not that appealing, so we could play for a long night. At least we have the dummy deck in a good state. This might be our way to take the keep higher and then even with some luck get some spell. Mana search doesn't seem that pressing currently. At least there's nothing dead yet. We only lacking white mana. I don't like the tranquility in the opening hand. We do have too many combat cards, to be honest. Well, we could use it for improvisation, for example. So in this sense, it's not a wasted card, but we would need 6 movement to actually assault the keep. And I don't want to play this sideways usually. So maybe we would play this just to go to the hills and use the time to crystallize instead, keep these cards and then draw up new cards. It's probably the first turn. So I think I want to go with Long Night and keep it a bit slower and hope the dummy gives me some time. So let's see what the dummy plays and if he takes the 1 in 5 chance to go before me, which is not nice if I'm playing Long Night. So dummy goes for preparation. That's a sad pull, but I'm fine with it that he actually goes after me. So the order is still correct and we play our first turn. And I think I want to use the improvisation to go to the hills. I would technically have a black mana, but it's quite pointless because it can't be crystallized. So that's 3 movement. We don't see the defenders and I can now crystallize something. So we should probably use blue here to pick up a white crystal. Because we are lacking white, we would lose blue, well, but we still have the crystal here. But we probably don't want to use it up front, but I think I like it still to get a white crystal. So we have all the options here, what to power. Yeah, let's do that. So we re-roll the die. Comes up white, so we do lack blue currently. These cards have been played. We could have used the Foresters to do the assault, but I think with the crystallized play, this is good enough, and we are playing Long Night. So let's see what the dummy does. Now first we redraw up to 5. So another Rage, a Threaten, and a March. Alright, so the dummy plays blue, good, green and white. Lucky enough. Okay, so again a slow start and one of the 4 blue cards is out, which means the second turn. And we need 3 movement now to assault the keep. I think I should keep the threaten to higher once we have taken it. I can't rely on having promise. Improvisation is already played, which means that I can't play it sideways with March just to enter. I could do this with Rage, or I can use the Foresters. They do have block 3. But beside that, they're quite useless, and they can block with their armor, and then I can heal them later because they're level 1 unit. So I like that a lot, so I think I will use them just for movement. And they can reduce the cost of hills as well, and this keep is in hills. So this is enough to move me into the keep. So I'm assaulting the keep, which gives me a reputation penalty, and the defenders are crossbowmen. So blocking them is actually quite hard. So I think I will do the plan to just have the Foresters block the 4 attack with their 4 armor. This is why they are so good. They are wounded, so I need 4 attack, which is easy enough with a red die from the source to play a Rage, which will just kill the crossbowman. And I don't think there's much more to say here. So yeah, let's just kill them. 3 more fame. Unfortunately, does not let us level. So we are at 14 now. Maybe I should have picked up dueling after all. And we did play only 1 card. So we can think about if we want to heal now, but I don't think there's any rush to do that. Did already play the Tranquility, so we do not need to wait on that. But maybe we can use Reputation in the Village or something like this. Let's not do it unless it's necessary. So these cards I think I want to keep, especially Threaten, so we can hire. But we will need more Influence, or we have to play cards sideways. Luckily enough, we are still at 0, so this gives us 5, which means 1 card sideways already gives us access to Shock Troops and Swordsmen. But the Golems are tempting, to be honest. So let's get rid of the Rage. We put a shield in the keep that we have conquered it, and reroll the red die. Comes up blue, which does mean we do not have red mana currently to power threaten. That's a bit of a downer, to be honest. And we only draw 1 card since we only played 1, which is the Promise. This is really good. So since we do have white mana, we can get up to 6 now as well without losing the reputation. Let's see what the dummy does first. Hopefully he's continuing to play slow. Red, red, green. Nice. So 2 cards gone that make me draw 1 more and another slow turn. So the Long Night I hope pay out. So we are in a keep. We draw actually 1 more card. So we are in a keep, so we have a handlement of 6, so we should have drawn 1 more, which is another stamina. Okay, so this is nothing useful currently, because we do want to hire, but I think it's good that we have the 2 influence cards in hand, and we want to play slow because of Long Night. So we'll take a white die, get up to influence 6, and then let's think really hard if we want the Swordsmen, the Shock Troops, or the Guardian Golems. The Golems are just nice because they have physical resistance. They can attack and block, and they can block one of the harder to block enemies. It costs mana, but yeah, that's nice. The Shock Troops are always nice if you go for range attack, which we currently don't have yet, so they might end up quite nice in a larger army later on in the game, because they also increase the armor of other enemies, and they can also reduce attacks and armor. So either attack by 3 or armor by 1, attack by 1. This can be huge against physical resistant enemies. The swordsmen are just super solid. Attack 3, block 3 or 6 and they become wounded. But I think I like the golems for some reason. But currently I do not have any mana tokens that the golems would need. I have white and green, they need red and blue. But I do have the crystal, of course. That's actually a hard decision and it feels like a pivotal point. But unfortunately, knowledge is key, I'm always saying in Mage Knight, so we can actually prepare, but we have no idea what's coming. If we reveal a Mage Tower, we could still hire the Guardian Golems, but then again we don't have any influence skill, but we could take Stout Resolve. I'm tempted to actually take Shield Bash because it can reduce the armor of enemies, and we do have blue, access to blue mana. I would have to play a card sideways to get up to 7 for the golems. The other 2 I could just hire. I think with Intimidate in my deck, going just for the raw attack power is out of the question. I think I'd rather take something defensive. The Shock Troops are like a middle ground of defense and offense because they can reduce the attack. I'm thinking about which card I could play sideways. I think I want to hold on to my move cards. With the mana and the source I can power them both. And I will have the Intimidate left, so I think I might actually play the Rage sideways because I do need to get through my deck, even though I still seem to have a lot of time, but I really want to take it slow. Yeah, I think it's a gut decision, obviously, but I think I want to pick up the Guardian Golems. So that's influence 7, because we had 0. We are at a keep, so our second unit is the Guardian Golems. All right, so let's reroll the die. Unfortunately, it depletes to black. We have played these 3 cards. And we are in a keep, so we will draw 3 more cards. A determination, a swiftness, and a march, so even more movement. And the dummy plays white, blue, nice, and red. Okay, so 1 more, which is green. So he has played 10 cards now, so there are 6 left in the deck. Unless we are hitting a blue card, we will have 4 turns. But this can still happen. I think there are only 2 blue cards played. 1, so hitting 1 blue card, 2 out of 6 cards. Oh, there's actually 7 cards. We added 1. Okay, so this makes it, well, so we definitely have 4 turns now. And he could play even slower. But I'm not sure that we actually need that much time. But we do have the long night, so we can refresh our deck. This sounds all quite nice, to be honest. So where do we go? I feel like with 2 green movement cards, we should now play a march. We could use another green or blue to power another movement card, which is probably what we want to do actually. For example, we could move to the mine, because the village is quite pointless. We can plunder, but we can't hire. So I think if we start here, we can reveal a tile and then even go through the village then. And this would mean 6 movement and 2 for reveal. The question is, do we really play fast now? Because we are leaving the keep and we still have a lot of cards in the deck. But using movement 4 to just go here, just to draw and wasting a point, I think I'd rather go to the mine and get the crystals and leave the hand limit behind. So we can power blue, or we can power blue anyway due to the crystal. I'm not sure which one to power. We could even power the swift reflexes, because we will get a lot of white mana due to the mine. I think I'm playing another march with the green crystal. So that's 8 movement. Wolfhawk leaves the keep for the white mine. That's 6 movement. We have 2 movement over, and we reveal a tile here. The compass rose comes up blue, so we will rotate it from its normal orientation to blue. So that's the regular orientation. We rotate it to blue, so we are rotating the keep away from us. So that's a bit sad, because this is a place where we can hire. But again, we need influence, and we've played our influence cards. So we do have a mountain in the middle, a monster den, which I'm not that interested in, another keep, which is quite interesting. And the ruins. The ruins could be our way to a spell or an artifact. But unfortunately at night we can only see what it is once we step onto the field. And it's in hillside, so another 3 movement. But I think for this turn I will leave it be. So we remove the crystal and reroll the die. The die also comes back kind of depleted. So these 2 are played. But we are on a white mine. So we should give us the crystal, which is nice for mana draw, so we can repair the source. And we are no longer in the vicinity of the keep, so we just draw 1 card, which is the concentration. So this was the thing I was wondering about, if I should keep a green crystal. But then again, having blue in the source and the crystal here, so if we have played this card, we would have the march now in the hand, which is also not that good. So let's see what the dummy does. He plays green, green, red. So this is 1 more, which is white, but it means that he has 3 cards left now. And for us, this means 3 turns. So we should really start playing cards. All right, so we do have a lot of fighting power, and with the crystals, we can actually power these 2. The concentration we cannot use currently, because we are lacking the green mana. But we do have blue. I'm really interested in these ruins. We should go there. The question is if we explore here first. For example, here and this is 4 movement. We can just do that. But then how do we move into the ruins? Could use the swift reflexes and the determination sideways, because we do have to get going. Otherwise the long night won't do much for us. And we have still a combo in hand. And I really want to get to the mana draw. So I think this might be the play here. So we use the blue to go here and explore, and then we can even think about what we want to do. But I want to get into this field to know what it is, and then to draw lots more cards of the deck. And 3 turns means this one, then we exhaust this deck, then we can, for example, take the ruins, then we will have a last turn, which means we can't hire, but again, we don't have influence. I'm not sure why I'm bringing this up all the time. So let's just do this, 2 movement, and then reveal the tile. We won't use the mine again, but that would be too slow anyway. So let's just put that here. And it comes up black, so it will be oriented 180 degrees. This is the regular orientation, 1, 2, and 3. So I think it's good that his tile is out of the way because it's another village, which is quite pointless. A glade at night in a forest, quite pointless. And then the trackers at the edge of the map, which, yeah, I don't want to kill. So I want to go into the other direction now. And I'm feeling quite happy that we already reeled 4 tiles. To get to the core tiles for the next day would mean 4 more tiles, which is quite impossible. So yeah, this turned out quite well. And I think I want to use move 2 and move 1 by playing the sideway to also go to the ruins. So we can actually go on. And let's hope for something that I can actually kill and gives us something. I don't have to enter it now, obviously, but we just see what it is. And it's an altar for fame. That's not what I was hoping for. And we definitely do not have 3 red mana. But mana draw can give us 1, so 2. So maybe if I reroll to red, this is actually possible to do. But let's discard this first. We don't see the defenders. I don't want to play anymore. Actually, this will also give us a mana, so the altar is actually quite possible. So I'm drawing up to 5, which is the rest of the deck. We can then use Long Night. So there's the Intimidate, there's the Tirelessness and the mana draw. And we reroll the die. Comes up white. This makes it much easier to use mana draw. And the dummy will play the rest of his deck. There are the 2 blue cards. So we have 2 turns now. And I do think I actually want to use the altar. And with the next turn we can maybe then take the keep. That would really make us a good start in the next day. So a white mana from the source, turning the gold die red, gives us 2 red tokens. The concentration gives us a red mana token. And then we can use the altar here for 3 red to gain 7 fame. So we should probably do that. If it's possible, we are still here, why not? So we use a shield again to mark that we have done this adventure side. And we do get 7 fame. So we are at 21 now and are leveling. And I think I want to hold on to these cards for the last turn. So this was turned red. This is then re-rolled. It depletes again, but we do at least have a red mana now by fixing it. We will then use Long Night, which means we shuffle our discard to randomly select 3 cards to build a new deck. And then we will draw 2 of them because we have a limit of 5 still. What I like is that we will end in a keep for the second day, which makes it likely that we can hire something, and we will get a command slot now by leveling. And we should be able to take the keep, definitely, with the golems at least, yeah. So these are then 3 cards, and we draw up to 5, which is a stamina and a rage. So not the most exciting cards, but yeah. So the dummy announces end of round. I can still do this after the battle. Maybe I take wounds, so I'd rather heal me. But if I want to do it in the battle, I would... Actually, I should probably do this beforehand, just to have access to blue. But again, blue... No, I don't need blue, to be honest. It's just movement. And there's no way I can reveal 1 more tile, is there? That's 5, 2, 7, that's 10. I can't power both, so no, that's... I can't do that. So let's just use these 2 cards to enter the keep. I need 3 movement, but there's no way around using 2 cards, because I do not want to power something for this, which leaves these cards to deal with the enemy. There is a bit of block, a lot of attack, maybe even some range attack, but range attack won't do anything. Ah, we did not level up. This was stupid. Okay. Did draw the stamina and the rage from shuffling. I have to look up the order. I think it was stamina first, but let's do the level up first then. So we could think about taking motivation, but I don't really want to take training away from the dummy, because he then would pick up a blue card. So it's probably out of the question to take that now. So let's look at our skills first. And it's the choice between our motivation skill, which gives us a fame when we use it, and know your prey. And I think that's decided right away. Know your prey is just one of the most insane skills that Wolfhawk has. So I think I will take this. This allows me to ignore any one property of the enemy, like an element of an attack, an element of resistance or fortification, or something like assassinate, poisonous. Unless it's arcane immune, and it doesn't work. And I think I want to use Shield Bash, because again, I want to give training to the dummy, and then it's Stout Resolve or Shield Bash. I'm not sure. We do have blue mana, but Stout Resolve is a good card. It's just quite flexible, and it gives us an influence source that we desperately need. And we have a tendency to get wounded with Wolfhawk, so that's also quite nice. But I should probably remove Shield Bash from the row just to not give it to the dummy, and it would line up another green card. Shield Bash is a good skill. Counts twice against swiftness. It's a block 5 skill. And reducing the armor is better than producing just attack, although enemies can be resisted. But I think I want to try it. Let's take Shield Bash. So there's the Mana Storm as a replacement. And now when drawing up, we do draw the shield bash, and I think we draw the stamina. I don't really want to look it up currently, and I don't think it makes too much of a difference. To make it really easy, let's just play the card I have drawn sideways with the tirelessness to get movement 3. I think I want to use this before now, so to just get the crystal, because I do have the shield bash now in hand. So that's actually a reason to power something. And then we heal the foresters. They will be ready in action for the next day. And then Wolfhawk moves to the hills, to the keep here, assaulting them. So we are at -1 reputation, and the defender is heroes, red heroes. So another hit to my reputation, but I do get a fair amount of fame. So I do have to deal with 2 attacks. Know Your Prey I will only use in this combat. There are no special abilities. The element is quite irrelevant, so I can ignore that it's fire. So the 2 attack is no longer fire, which means that Shield Bash can just block it with a block. Actually, that's quite pointless because I have to reduce the armor, I have to power it anyway. Powering this just seems like a waste, so this will ruin my reputation even more. So I think if I power this, actually do I need to do this? Well, if I I do ignore the element, and anything else doesn't work anyway. So I can run the 2 attack into the golems. They have physical resistance, and the 4 attack into the foresters, wounding them again. Because powering this will just use mana, and I don't want to use mana. And I feel like I have enough healing to just heal them again. So this goes there, and then we need an attack of 4. And after the battle we can't do anything else, so I will just produce attack 2 and 2 cards sideways for another attack 2. Because again, I can't do anything after the battle anyway, and this will take care without a reputation loss, and I won't need any crystals, and I don't want to use mana. And the only mana from the source I could use is red, which could mean I could use Fire Block 4, but to what end? This is only 3, because nothing produces attack with... Well, I could use the... I don't want to get a reputation penalty. I think that's the point. Otherwise, I can defeat it with this. And with the red mana from the source, I can block the attack 4 so they are not wounded. So here the question is, what is worth more? Having to spend 1 heal as the adept, or taking the reputation penalty? And I don't think I want to take the penalty, to be honest. I think I will leave it like this, so 2 cards sideways with the golems kills them, and by ignoring the fire element, the guarding golems ignore this attack, and we are wounding the foresters. If nothing else, I can just flip it again to heal them right away. So I will have 1 card left, but it's quite irrelevant. So we defeat the heroes for 5 fame. So we had 26, and we'll level at the end of round to get our new hand limit increase, which together with the 2 keeps will mean we have a hand limit of 8, which is nice. And the heroes, they will give us another penalty anyway. If I would have used Intimidate, I would have been at -2 already, and I want to hire next round. But that's the end of the first night then. Unfortunately, we did not pick up a spell on artifact, but we are leveling really fast. So we leveled twice again. We did pick up a good unit, and we are building a supply line that can be quite helpful with the first city assault. And we have revealed 2 tiles, we have a few crystals. I think we are on a good track. But I really hope that we get some artifact or spells going, otherwise we will run into problems. And Tremor will now be in the last position, but luckily enough, we add another green card to the dummy deck, so this is quite perfect. And Chill adds another blue crystal to the dummy deck. Again, it can make it swingy, but it's more and more unlikely we'll actually draw one of these cards. We will not remove Tremor, because I want to have this, and we will not remove Stout Resolve, because if we don't pick it up, it's another green card for the dummy. So Offering and Sacrifice, quite interesting. And an Ambush. We flip our skills and ready the golems. We also ready the foresters, but they are still wounded. And then we burn the 2 tactics. We flip it to the day side, and let's hope for good units. So there are guardsmen, which I like a lot. Peasants are kind of a blank. And there are the shock troops that we miss. So that might be our opportunity to pick them up finally. Because we do have some block in our abilities already, so we are missing some firepower. We are shuffling the dummy deck, that should be enough, and we do shuffle our deck. Alright, and then I think we draw our first hand. Let's roll the source first. Gold, green and red. And we have a hand limit of 8, 6 plus 2 keeps, rage, mana draw, improvisation, crystallize, determination, threaten, tranquility, and a stamina. So 8 of 18 cards, so 10 left in the deck. And the options are Rethink, Mana Steal, or Great Start. At this point I had to pause the game, so it's the next day for me. And looking at the opening hand, I think I'm actually fine. I have a plan for this. I will probably want to explore, but I would also like to interact and hire. We do have a stamina and a threaten already, and we do have an improvisation and tranquility. Tranquility could heal the wound on the foresters, but I can also do this with my skill. And I think if I want to use improvisation, what better card to toss than something like Tranquility in the opening hand. So the combination of improvisation and threaten together with a source die can give me influence 7, which gives me the shock troops because I'm at -1. I would also then have to crystallize if I did not use a source from the die or if I go with mana steal. Tactic wise, I don't think I want to go with early bird. I'd rather take rethink. Although if I don't want to interchange any cards from my hand, it's quite pointless to take it. So then I could like guarantee me one more turn than a dummy. Great start, I'm not sure if more cards actually help me. Well, I do have also the mana draw, so if I really want to burn through my cards, I could even use that to crystallize. But I am still at my keep if I do this, if I hire, so I will draw up back to 8 cards. Mana Steal would also allow me to crystallize right away, but it seems wasteful. Maybe the play here is really to take early bird, to force the dummy to go after me. And then depending on what he picks, I either get to Mana Steal or Rethink, or if he takes Great Start, I can Rethink and go first in last day, or can even pick up a mana. Maybe early bird using the red source die to power improvisation, playing 4 cards and just not playing them in the first turn, knowing that I go first is the play here. I think I've never done that so far. But yeah, Rethink would only give the dummy a 1 in 3 chance to go before me. And it would not do anything because I like the cards as they are pretty much. So let's go with early bird. So let's see what the dummy then decides to do, what cards he eliminates. And the dummy goes with Rethink. Well, that's quite nice. So I will have the option to either have a great start or steal mana and even go before the dummy. So the order again does not change, it's correct. And I want to play the stamina to reveal this coastal tile and then do this plan. Well, depending on what I reveal, but I will not power this up to potentially move away because I do not want to move away. The rose comes up green. So starting from the regular orientation, I'm rotating it twice, so it lands like this. And it turns out to be quite an interesting tile for me, because there's a mage tower at day, which allows me to pick up Tremor, and there's even an ancient ruin that gives me an artifact and a spell, which might be even the priority, to be honest, to not get sidetracked, but I could pick up 2 spells and an artifact. And that's exactly what I need at the second day, because I have no spells and artifacts yet. So this is the biggest downside. I've leveled a lot. I have, like, after this turn, all my command slots filled, with up to level 2 units only, of course. But I really do need to pick up Tremor now, and I really do need artifacts. So I like this reveal a lot. And I feel like a keep enemy and a city enemy with Know Your Prey should be easy enough. We will see. We have to move the map a little bit to make space for my command slot. And then I play improvisation with the red source die for 5 influence, threaten for 2. Do not get a penalty. -1 gives me 6, so I can pick up the shock troops. I do want to pick them up because I do have a lot of block already with the guardian golems and the shield bash, for example. There is a synergy with the guardsmen, but I can't just go all block, and I really need some way to also increase my range attack and the attacks of other troops. And I do like the attack reduction because this also synergizes with block. So this is kind of an attack and a defense card, whereas the guardsmen are mostly defense. So I really like this pickup here. And as said, this was my first turn. I've played the half of my hand, 4 cards. So I think this is quick enough. Let's see how fast the dummy is playing. Let's reroll the die first. Also comes up green. And since we are still at a keep, we are drawing up to 8 cards again. There's a tirelessness, a swiftness, a promise, and a concentration. So this is really good. So we do have the concentration swiftness combination. We do have the tirelessness to actually move on, which is important. So both the mage tower and the ruins are 5 away. So I could even just play the tirelessness without mana if I had another move card. Well, I do have the swiftness, but I don't want to play it to move. But let's first see what the dummy is up to in his first turn. So he's playing blue, nice, green, and another blue. Okay, so I have eliminated 50% of the blue cards, but I hit a blue card right away, which is 4 more cards. So it is quite sad. Let's see if we eliminate more blue cards with these extra cards. Another green, and yet another green, white, and another blue. Okay, so we've eliminated 4 of the cards that do not make him draw at all, but there's only 1 blue card left. So he has 18 cards in his deck. We have 7 here. That's 11 remaining. I think that's still fine, but it's not a good omen if the first turn he already hits a blue card. But there's just 1 left. So unless we hit that, I think we will be fine. This brings me to my second turn. I should, since I have played the Tranquility, I should probably just activate this to heal the foresters. There's a lot of green mana in the source, so if we can take the Mage Tower to get Tremor, we can actually use this in the ruins. Maybe this is also something to think about. So I'm not sure if I should skip the Mage Tower. I think I should probably just take it. The terrain is really nice. It's all plains. I don't think there's a reason not to heal the Foresters, because if I'm about to take a wound, I can usually just assign it to a unit, and a level 1 unit with 4 armor, as in the last game, is just really good because it's easy to heal and I don't even have 4 armor myself, so it's always just good to assign it instead. So I think I will just flip the skill now, throw away the wound on the Foresters and pick up another blue crystal. So I think that's actually quite a nice army, and I could just use the Foresters with the tirelessness to just approach the tower, because I can reduce the movement cost of the hills by 1, so it only costs 4 to either move to the tower or the ruins. So with the tirelessness I would have moved 5 then, move 4, but it only costs 4, since I do not have any other movement cards. And the tirelessness with the promise sideways, for example, is just 4 move. Without the reduction I would not be able to reach anything without even yet another card. I won't have the block 3, but then again I have the Guardian Golems, which can produce ice block 4, for example. So I think I will use the Foresters to just move to the hills, see the defenders, and then decide on how to go on. There's no reason to stay. I can't hire anything else without replacement. There's nothing else I can do in the keep. I could think about exploring a tile here. We are at 5, so 2 more than the core tiles. So as usual, it will be good to place one at the coastline, and we are going this direction, so we should really reveal this tile. But I think it's not important to reveal like this and then start with the core here. We can just place them here, and then we have core tile positions. So there's a natural progression. So we could spend movement here if we power it after all. I think that's my point. We can use the forces to go here, and then we could think about powering the tirelessness. Well, if we power it anyway, we would have 4 movement. The promise would make it 6. But again, it doesn't come out right. We had to play more effects, because I need an odd amount of movement if I don't use the Foresters. And the reduction technically makes the Foresters an odd amount. I think it's not that important to reveal this tile now. We have only played 1 movement card. This is the second, so we have both marches left, and we have a lot of green mana. So I think I will just leave with the Foresters. It's just quite efficient just to activate 1 unit to move 1 space. And since it's stable, now see the defenders of the Mage Tower. And the token is Magic Familiars, which are never fortified. It's quite interesting. We do have range attack 5. The shock troops give range attack 1. That's 6. So we are 1 short, unfortunately. Now that I have used the Foresters, I could actually use the tirelessness with the promise, because that's a card that I can't really use for anything. So I don't want to hire in the near future, and I don't want to learn a spell in the Mage Tower, because I will get one anyway. So if I play it like this is already 4 movement, which allows me to scout this tile and move on. And there's an argument to be had to just go to the ruins first, as long as I have this firepower, and then think about if I want to take the tower as well. With the spell I'm picking up, I could even, for example with Tremor, then take the Mage Tower much easier, because it reduces the armor of the familiars to 4. So with another swiftness, or the swift reflexes in this case, with the shock troops, if I don't need them for this battle, I could then, for example, just kill the familiars. And I can use this turn, because I did not use any mana to crystallize, so I'm really thinking I'm preparing my hand well, with mana draw, 2 combat cards, concentration, swiftness for the ruins. And I will have 1 more revealed tile, so I think I like this plan a lot. So this gives me move 2. The next card providing move, including sideways, gives 1 extra move. So that's 2 from promise as well. So that's 4. So we're revealing this tile here. Compass Rose comes up green again, so I will rotate it twice. This is the irregular orientation, and I will rotate it twice. It seems I can't catch a break with these orcs that are giving 2 fame. Well, this is not this one, but it's at the edge of the map. So we had 1 here, and these 2 are also 2 fame. This is really annoying, but what can you do? Besides that, there's a green crystal mine, which is nice, a glade. Currently it's nice since it's still day, but I don't think I will reach it. And a village might be interesting. So I moved the map over a bit to mark where I still want to explore, move the rows to this side. And after this tile, this should be the 7th, we can start with our first quartile here, for example, and then progress in this direction. Or we could even place the first quartile here, which might be more interesting with the mine and everything. So technically we only needed to play this yet, so move 2. But we can use the promise now sideways to progress, which would make the promise quite efficient. But we should then not move into the Mage Tower as planned, but move to the ruins instead. So I think I will hold on to this plan. So Wolfhawk enters the ancient ruins, but we are not engaging with it yet. And we just take a green source tide to crystallize, because we don't have any green crystal yet, which is nice. This means we play 3 cards, and I think I want to draw up before I enter the ruins. I think that would be far too hasty. Let's see if the dummy hits another blue card, then we are in trouble. So let's reroll the die and get rid of these 3 cards. The die actually comes up red. We did have a gold die before, but it's nice to have all the options now, besides just taking the gold die. And let's see what the dummy is doing. He's playing white, red, and red. Okay, so not a blue card, and the extra card is the blue card. That's very nice. So this makes 11 cards, so there are 7 left. And there are 2 red cards in the remaining pile. So if we hit neither of those, we will have 5 turns. If we hit any of those, we'll probably have 4 turns, but that's more than enough time. Let's redraw. We moved away from the keep, unfortunately. So we do just draw 1 card, and it's another rage. So I think this has to be enough firepower to rage a determination, guarding golems for blocking, shock troops, concentrated swiftness and the mana draw, lots of crystals. So this should be trivial to take these ruins. Again, famous last words maybe, but let's see. Since we did not draw any move card, there's no point in revealing first or anything like that. So let's just enter the ruins. We are drawing 2 tokens, 1 keep enemy, which is green heroes. So I'm getting less and less popular. And the city enemy token is catapults. Both of them are fortified, but this is where Know Your Prey comes in. The only things I can ignore are, well, cumbersome, which is nothing I want to ignore because it's good for me, the 2 fortifications, and the fire attack of the catapult, which I don't think is that important. So I think I will just ignore the fortification of the heroes, and I will use the shock troops after all, because I can then just kill them with a swiftness. The alternative would be to use the concentrated swiftness, so I don't need to use the shock troops, which would mean with Tremor I can maybe kill the familiars from range, but that would be the plan, so I don't have to deal with 2 attacks of 5 and 3, which leaves the catapults, and unfortunately I don't have any movement to reduce this damage. Ignoring the fire element would make block more efficient, so it would be kind of easy to block with these 2 cards. If I don't do this, the ice block will be efficient against the block 8, against the fire attack 8, so I have to block 4 more, which is 8 block. So unfortunately I don't have the foresters, otherwise with determination it would already be 8 block. Killing this is easy enough with 2 rages, which would be 8, but I should probably not hold back on the units just to maybe take the mage tower next turn. So if I, for example, reduce the armor and 1 attack of the enemy by 1, so it will be easier to deal with 7 fire attack, and it only has 6 damage, so then 1 mana would be enough to produce 6 damage. Then again we have the ice block, so we need only 3 to block 3 more fire damage in this case. This would be 5, but inefficient, so we are lacking 1 block. We could use the concentration on the determination. So let's quickly think this through. This would be 7 block, which doesn't change much. So with the shock troops reducing it to 7, blocking 4, 7 inefficient, it would then block it. That would be okay. But we would not be able to kill this at range, because if we just power that, we are lacking 1 range attack, and if we use the shock troops for the catapults, it doesn't work. We would then have to use the shock troops to get the range attack 1, which would mean that the golem's attack would be increased if we don't use the block at all. So that would be 3, and then 1 rage would be enough to kill it, which frees up 1 rage. But it's never going to be enough to block 8 fire damage. Actually, movement, so playing cards sideways, is even more efficient in reducing it. But without ignoring the fortification, we can't kill them. So ignoring the fire damage instead would mean we would have to deal with these attacks. Well, the 1 attack, the 3 attack, is irrelevant because the guardian golems are physical resistant. And we could, as said, use the foresters maybe to absorb damage. So against the catapults, movement is really good, because if we reduce it to 4, then the foresters could just soak up the damage. So maybe I just take damage. Maybe that's the best plan here. So let's go back to the case where we have a good chance to kill the familiars with the remaining swiftness in the deck. So we would again ignore the fortification and use a concentrated swiftness for 5 range attack to kill the heroes. If I just take the wounds, I would get 3. So I'd rather assign 1 to the foresters, which I can heal later. This reduces the attack by 4, so it's just 1 wound if I reduce it by 1 further point, which I can just do, for example, by playing 1 card sideways as move, so it becomes a 7 attack, and then 4-3 would already deal with it. So it's just 2 wounds, 1 I have in hand, 1 is on the foresters. I can then play these cards to kill the catapult, and what I do need to power is 2 rages and a concentration. So there's lots of ways on how to get this mana, but I'm tempted to just take the green die to power the concentration, and then use a white crystal for mana draw to put the red die to the red side. Get 2 red crystals, which then powers the rages. This means I'm using all my cards and 1 crystal. And in particular, I'm using a white crystal, not a green one. Because if I use mana draw to pull... Well, I do need 2 red mana. So if I'm not using mana draw like this, I would need to pull the red die and the gold die with mana draw, and then I would have to use a green crystal to power the concentration. That's what I want to avoid. And I would reroll a lot of dice, and like this I keep the gold die and I'm keeping this die at red. So I think that's the plan. So I'm entering the ruins. In the range attack phase, I'm using Know Your Prey to ignore the fortification of the heroes. I'm pulling a source die to power concentrated swiftness with a range attack to kill the heroes. These give me 5 fame, so I'm at 31. But I do lose the reputation again. And for the catapults, in the attack and block phase, I'm playing a determination sideways for 1 move, so it's a fire attack 7. Then I assign 1 wound to the foresters. Since they have 4 armor, the attack gets reduced to 3, which is exactly my armor, so I'm getting 1 wound to hand. Then to retaliate, I'm using a white crystal on mana draw to set the red die to the red side, get 2 red tokens to power rage, which is attack 8, which then kills the catapults for another 7 fame. Which brings me to 38, I'm leveling. I don't have to forget this time. And that's pretty much it. So the die will be replaced. The tokens and the crystals are discarded. This will be re-rolled. We've used all our cards, but keep 1 wound in hand. And let's re-roll the die first. Comes up black, unfortunately. We then get the rewards and then the level up. So let's see what artifacts we can get. So the choice is between the Banner of Courage, which allows us to ready 1 unit we attach it to, which is quite strong. And the Elite power to, if you break the artifact, is to ready all our units, quite interesting. And the other artifact is the Endless Gem Pouch. And I do think I need mana. I don't have any skills here that produce crystals or a lot of mana. And I am only getting 1 crystal from a skill. So getting 2 crystals from the basic effect, and then once I break it, a mana token of each basic color and a gold or a black. This is something that enables city assaults. I don't have a unit yet that I desperately want to ready, but I hope I can change that at a coming night. Yeah, I think I want to take the pouch just because I'm picking up spells now and I really need the mana. Which brings us to the spell reward. Offering is also a way to get crystals, obviously. But I just picked up the pouch and I definitely need Tremor. I need to pick that up. So if I don't pick it up now, I have to take the Mage Tower. So we should actually think about what helps with the tower, and with green mana to reduce the armor by 3. As said, since we do still have the shock troops, I think that would be insane if I just use move 2, shock troops, Tremor, and a swiftness to just take the tower. So I'm just picking up Tremor. Replacement is Wings of Wind, which is a good movement skill, quite interesting. And Wings of Night is really good to make multiple targets not attack, which for a City Assault with 8 tokens can be very, very good. So let's proceed to the level up. The skill choice is between On Her Own, that's the influence skill of Wolfhawk. Gives just 1 influence, but if you're not using it to hire, so Wolfhawk is always incentivized to not fill up the unit spaces, then it's 3 influence, which is really solid. But it only helps for healing, for acquiring spells, for acquiring skills in a monastery, to persuasion of heroes in battle, for example, or thugs. But it's not something I'm too keen on, especially with this bad reputation. And the other skill is the Refreshing Breeze. So more mana and more healing. Since I have 2 wounds currently, I think this is quite good to take. But we should think about what we do with Tovak. And again, we did not reveal a skill last time, a skill choice, which we could also take now because we already leveled twice. So the other Tovak skill is Night Sharpshooting. And that's funnily enough exactly what we would also need to kill the familiars with Tremor without the shock troops. And at night will actually be 2 range attack. So I'm definitely not taking On Her Own. Let's put it here. But I'm still thinking about if I want to use more healing and more crystals or take the motivation skill of Tovak. But then we would need to take Stout Resolve. I think putting green cards to the deck and white cards is not a big difference, but we will probably give the dummy a white crystal next. So I think we should rather talk about what's best to take here. Stout Resolve with a wound in hand is quite good. The Mana Storm I don't like too much in solo, as pointed out in the other videos as well. So it's mostly for the basic effect, which gives you a crystal and allows you to reroll 1 die. But it does not fix depleted dice like this. And taking additional source dice doesn't do much. And especially since you're rolling, you don't even know what you get. So Ambush is is actually quite interesting, because ambush will also increase the attack of a card. For example, with powered ambush, I would have 4 movement to explore this, go to the mage tower. And if I then play swiftness, it's already range attack 5. I think I do really like ambush, which means I can't take a dummy skill unless, yeah, I'm taking Stout Resolve now and ambush later. No, I think I will give Stout Resolve to dummy and maybe remove Mana Storm at the end of the round, which means we will add a white crystal without adding a white card, which sounds quite good. I'm taking ambush. I do like these kind of skills quite a lot because they give mana and healing, so I think it's efficient enough. We have a distinct lack of red mana, so we have blue and white, and no red crystals whatsoever. But yeah, hopefully we can fix that. So we have taken a skill, we have taken an advanced action card, the rewards we already did. The offer refresh with counter attack. That's quite interesting since I do have the golems and a shield bash. So generating a lot of attack if we block enemies sounds really interesting. So let's this time not forget to put out another dummy skill, which is Who Needs Magic. That if you don't use a source die allows you to play a card sideways for 3. And if you use a source die, again, you can at least play a sideways card for 2. So we are marking the ruins with our shield. That's actually the 3rd ruins we play this game. We have done the rewards, we have done the level up, so we are done with the turn and we are drawing cards. We do have a wound in hand, we are nowhere near our keep, so we are drawing 5 more cards. The ambush and the tremor, the endless gem pouch, the intimidate, and swift reflexes. So that's the card we were waiting on. We have 3 more in the deck. The dummy plays green, white, and green. So we did not hit a red card yet. So we do have a lot of time, at least 3 turns, maybe 4. So with all these new cards, it seems reasonable to execute the plan that we already laid out, to use ambush to reveal and assault the mage tower. We should probably play the endless gem pouch first, and in the ambush we will use the tremor and the swift reflexes to just kill the familiars when in range, because they are never fortified. I do want to power the ambush to reveal. We also give +2 to an attack card or +4 to a block card. So this would already be range attack 5. Unfortunately, we only get to 6 with the shock troops, and the familiars do have 7 armor. So we do need a tremor as well. So that's already a demand of 2 green and 1 white. We do have a gold die and a crystal of both colors, and we also have this white crystal here, and we didn't even play the pouch yet. We should also think about that we do not need to kill them in range, since we do have the guardian golems that can just ignore one of the attacks, but they are brutal. So without know your prey, it's actually not a good idea to just take the damage. We would have to block it, and this seems to be too much effort in comparison to just do a range attack. So let's start with the endless gem pouch, because I don't think I will break this artifact or keep it in hand. Why? And unless I'm rolling blue twice, there's actually not that much that can go wrong. But I do have a severe lack of blue abilities, where we do have the guardian golems also just to block with blue. I think I'm just thinking about this because the intimidate would be enough to just kill the familiars in melee. So we could even try to kill the orcs as well, if we can deal with all the attacks. But we could then just kill the orcs at range with the shock troops and the swift reflexes, which means the ambush bonus could go to another card. For example, to a sideways card played for block. But which card would we even play sideways? Can we group the two enemies? If we play the tremor for all enemies get armor -2, the orcs would be at 2, the familiars at 5, so 7 in total. And we are back to the problem that even with the ambush bonus, we are only at 6 range attack. But it was a nice plan. So let's play the pouch and then go on. Both dice come up white, which is a bit unfortunate, because we are now at the limit for crystals. But I will probably use 1 for swift reflexes anyway. I have to get rid of white mana, so to speak, before using the skill here. I would be interested in killing the orc, even though it's just 2 fame, because the reputation gain would offset the penalty from the assault. But I would not level either way, because it's just a combined fame of 7. So what if I play the ambush with swift reflexes for the orc? I would not even have to power it in this case, unless I do want to reveal. That would just kill the orc, which would free up the shock troops. The shock troops could then reduce one enemy attack by 3. Any damage from that attack must be assigned to this unit, not from that unit, but just from the attack. So if I reduce it by 3 with brutal, it will still be double nothing, so it won't take any damage. And then we can tank the other attack, but then I would have to play the intimidate, which gives me a reputation -2, so killing the Orc for reputation is no longer a good argument. I think I will just leave the Orcs be, to be honest, and just return to the original plan. So ambush to reveal and assault, get +2, which does not matter too much. Well, with the tremor, we are already then at 8. Yeah, so it's too much anyway. Well, then we are back at the idea to use tremor to reduce the armor of all enemies by 2. So the familiars are at 5, which then is enough with ambush and swift reflexes. And the orc just has 2 armor. I can't kill it in range, but I haven't even used the shock troops yet. So if I, for example, reduce the armor and 1 attack of chosen enemy by 1, it just has an attack of 1 and an armor of 1. So we could kill it with a sideways intimidate, and the golem can just absorb the damage. So we can kill it after all. We could even just activate the golem and keep the intimidate. The intimidate would allow me to learn a spell. So I think I should just maybe hold on to this. I think it's a good plan. Let's execute this. We finally use the gold die to power ambush for movement 4. For the first 2 movement, we reveal this tile here. Rose die comes up white, so we rotate it once counterclockwise. So from the normal orientation, we rotate it like this. And it contains a mountain, which is not that interesting because it's at the coastline, a red crystal mine, spawning grounds. No, it's a monster then still, so not that interesting. And orc summoner, so if I can kill him at range, those at least will give me 4 fame now. But I will then assault the mage tower with the remaining move 2, which gives me a reputation penalty. And I will have to kill the familiars. But I also want to try to kill them. So the first attack that I play of any type is +2. So now I'm using a white crystal for range attack 3, so it's range attack 5. And I will play Tremor to reduce the armor of all enemies by 2, which means they are at 5, they never 45, 5 range attack just kills them, so I get 5 fame. Which then leaves these orcs here. With the shock troops I can reduce the armor and 1 attack of chosen enemy by 1. So if I reduce 1 attack by 1, it's 0. So that's blocked. And the armor is now at 1. 2 from Tremor, 1 from the shock troops. So the other attack can be absorbed by the guardian golems because they are physically resistant. And I can then use the golems, the attack of them, to just kill them. So we would not actually need to reduce the armor by 1 with the shock troops. But the whole point was to ignore one of these attacks. They are mostly annoying anyway. But that would spend all my units instead of using Intimidate sideways, but I think I'd rather have the Intimidate than the Golems currently, looking at the map. Yeah, we have to decide what spell to take anyway, and seeing my current mana situation, I'm leaning towards a white one, but we have to discuss this in a moment. So this destroys them because 1 attack was reduced to 0, 1 was run into the Guardian Golems, and the resulting armor of 1 could be easily defeated by the Guardian Golems. So that's 2 fame, and we get back our reputation. So let's mark the Mage Tower with our shield. And unfortunately, these 2 crystals are then used. So I should think about if I want to heal this wound. There are 3 cards left in my deck and I will just gain a spell now. So there's no point in getting rid of it now. So let's re-roll the die. Comes up white. And we now get our reward. So as said, we do have a lot of white mana. And Charm is quite an interesting spell. It would even allow me to learn another spell in the Mage Tower in the next turn. There's nothing to recruit, so the discount of 3 doesn't help me much, but the crystal would help, obviously. And Possess is really nice to both prevent an attack and get extra damage with the necessary elements to destroy our other tokens. The Offering is quite an interesting spell if you can make it work with the crystals to get siege and range attack quite a lot. That might be interesting, but it takes a lot of cards to play. And I'm kind of tempted to give the dummy a red crystal, so white and green is both perfect for the dummy, and just take one of the white spells now. The Wings of Wind I'm really interested in because it can make me move quite quickly over the map, and it means I can cross mountains, lakes, and so on. And in a night assault, I can use Wings of Night to prevent a lot of enemy attacks. So if I'm not playing heavy siege damage and range attack with some way to remove fortification, then this is really key to just kill the tokens with attack. So I'm really interested in that spell. But the question is, do I take Charm and rather learn another spell? So we do have the white mana in the source for that. We do have the Intimidate. I think I will take Charm to help in hiring, or use the Possess in an assault at night. And then we will see what it refreshes to. So let's take the Charm as the reward. And we reveal Demolish. So a card that even at day can make me ignore side fortification, and enemies get armor -1 if they are not fire resistant. But that was the reward from the Mage Tower, so I'm drawing up. I have 4 cards remaining, 2 in hand, so I'm just revealing all of them, which is the Charm that we just took, the Shield Bash, a March and a March, so lots of movement. Let's see if the dummy hits another red card or not. White, green, red, unfortunately. So this was, since we didn't hit any before, it was quite a coin flip. So we do have 2 turns now. And I think at that point, I'd rather heal myself than the unit. Unless I want to tank some damage somewhere. For example, if I go over here for some reason. Well, we do have to reveal, but we do have a lot of movement left. So we have 2 turns, but unfortunately there's no green mana inside. So this is actually a reason to play Charm, since we do get a crystal of any color, so we can take green and have a reroll. So my idea here would be to use Charm now to pick up another spell, which is either white or red. So much is clear. We can use a crystal here to indicate that we are using Charm, and then we will then use a source die as the additional payment that is needed. We need 7 influence, we had -2, so this means we need 9 influence. We get 4, so we still need 5. So an Intimidate with a Side Mage Shield Bash would, for example, do the trick, and we don't need any mana for this, and we only get -1 reputation. That's the nice thing about Intimidate. It's really strong without even powering. And then we would have another turn to march using, for example, the Wings of Wind. One play, for example, could be to use the Wings of Wind to go to the glade, heal the wound from the hand, and use this to heal our unit, and then reveal the first quartile here, which is really nice because then we can swoop around like this. Although there's no big difference in doing it the other way around. We will have the second night where we want to assault the first city, which we might reveal now if we are lucky. But it also means that we have to, or we should recruit. So we should level again, recruit, then take the city. So we have to think about how are we in position to recruit quite early. But unfortunately, there is nothing really good to recruit at. But I do like starting at the glade because it gives us the option to use black mana to cast the spell on the strong side. If I want to level now, I would have to kill this orc, not this one, unfortunately. With the green crystal we are producing, we will have move 6. So with white and Wings of Wind, we could, for example, move 4 spaces and reveal. If we pick up Offering now, we could cast it. Well, maybe we can't because we won't have the mana then. Well, we can take a red crystal, but I think we need the movement. I think Wings of Wind is just too good to get into position now because we do have to traverse quite a few tiles before we can even reveal. Well, this is only move 7, but with reveal it's 9 and we can't power them both. So I think it's quite clear that we need the Wings of Wind. All right, so we're using a crystal with Charm for influence 4. If you use this during interaction, then either gain a crystal of any color to your inventory, get a discount of 3 towards the cost of a unit. So we get a crystal of any color, which is green. We then play Intimidate for another influence 4 and a card sideways for another influence 1. That's 9. -2 is 7, which is exactly the amount we need for a spell. We then pay the white mana to get a white spell, and we do lose 1 reputation at the end of turn. So that's the only sad part about this. So this would all then be used, and there's still no reason to use this right now. So we reroll the white die that we used, and it stays white, which is good because then we can power the Wings of Wind without using another crystal, and we just draw the Wings of Wind. Now the dummy announces the end of round, and I do think I want to cast the Wings of Wind. When you play this, spend 1 to 5 move points and move 1 reveal space on the map for each. You must end your movement in a safe space. Moving this way does not provoke rampaging enemies. So, for example, to the glade and reveal would be move 3 for Wings of Wind and then 2 for reveal, so 5 in total. That already means we do need the crystal. We could also move here to pick up a green crystal, but it costs the same amount. What would be really cool is move 4 to go here and then reveal 2 tiles, but it's a move cost of 8 and we can't produce another green mana. So the current options are 5, 5 or 8, and there's no closer way to reveal. There are only options for 6, obviously, where we can move 4 spaces and reveal, so we might be in a better position. But I think I want to either utilize the mine, which is quite tempting to get a green crystal, or the glade to heal 1 more wound. But I think we have 2 heal effect, so healing might not be that useful. And the black mana really depends on what I want to do, and the spells I have, the Wings of Night, could be interesting if I assault a city from the glade, but I'm really hoping to find another keep. Possess would be good, but again, it's a combat thing. We don't have Call to Glory or something like this, where it would be definitely worth to go to the glade. And we do have Earthquake, but again, it's also a combat thing. So I think I would rather go to the mine now, reveal here, and then we can continue revealing like this, which means we will heal ourselves with this skill. So we throw away that wound, get another white crystal, and then we unfortunately do have to use a crystal on March to get 6 movement. With Wings of Wind we can do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I did want to go here, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And unfortunately this is an atomic effect, so I can't reveal and then move on. And I want to stay on the mine anyway. I could go here, so it's easier to reveal, but I don't think that's worth it. So let's refresh the offer first. And there is Call to Arms, Call to Glory. That's a bit sad, but maybe we can pick it up in the coming night and then just use it immediately. Because with this reputation, it's really hard to get to the elite units of level 3 and 4. Do I have any shot at this? No. I don't have any units left, so can't even do deal damage. All right, so let's reveal that here. So we actually get the elite offer of units. Rose comes up green, so we are rotating it twice counterclockwise. No, it's clockwise this time. It's a city. This is the usual orientation, and we rotate it to green. We then have to roll for the city colors, and it's a megalopolis, so it comes up white and green. And as I said in the beginning, I will stick to the description to add it to the right place, so the megalopolis will be here. And there's a swamp dragon hovering over the waters here. There's a keep, which is insanely good for me, so I should really take that. And spawning grounds, which again are quite nice to level up and get an artifact. So I do like me this tile. Unfortunately, it's a white city, so it's the 12 megalopolis. We're going for 12 and 14, but they will have an armor bonus, but you do have Earthquake. So we can't move on. So the Wings of Wind was already used to go here for 3. And then the 6 move means we have 1 point left, but there won't be anything left to play. So let's clean that up. And we do have a white and green megalopolis of level 12. So that's both 6s here, which means we have a combined 5 keep enemies, then 1 dungeon enemy, where we haven't even revealed 1 yet in the whole game, and then 2 city enemies. So this is a combined total of 8 tokens, which sounds a lot, but there are 5 keep enemies. That's what I'm getting at, which hopefully are like a little bit nicer. And all the tokens have 1 armor, and they are poisonous. Let's move this over here. And then since we are already adjacent to the city, we can even reveal these tokens. So let's start with the easy one in quotes. Guarding golems, swordsmen, thugs, more thugs, and guardsmen. The dungeon enemy is a gargoyle. City enemy are freezers and altar mages. Just to point it out now, there is no enemy that's arcane immune. An earthquake will just reduce all these tokens to 1 armor. This will stay at 1 because we can't be lower. These are 3 and this is down to 4. But you do have to draw the spell, have black mana, and so on and so on. So let's move that over here. And this is the end of the second day. So we unfortunately do remove offering to give the dummy a red crystal, but that was part of the plan. So now it's only blue and red, and it will again pick up a green card. I will not get rid of Demolish, I think, because if I do not pick it up, it's another red crystal. And I might want to pick it up to ignore Sites of Fortification in day 3, because it's a spell that ignores fortifications without the need to have black mana. The Mana Storm, I think I do not want to pick up, and I'm okay with the dummy having it. And since I'm not sure I can pick counter attack at that night, well, I should level enough to pick it up, but maybe I don't want to. Oh, I didn't actually factor in that they are at +1 because of the white city, so it's net -3. But again, it's a lot of level 2 tokens, so any amount of siege damage will just kill a lot of them. And they have so weak attacks that they're easy to block, so counter attack is actually quite a good ability to have then, but I would have to level twice for this. So I think I want to slow down to give the dummy the white card and to give me more time to pick up counterattack. And as already said, I will keep Demolish as well. Alright, so the advanced action offer refreshes with Decompose, which is really good. It's 2 or 3 crystals, but it does remove a card permanently from your deck, obviously. But I do like this. It's a really good crystal skill. So if you would have picked up Offering and Sacrifice, that would actually be a good companion. As well as the Spawning Grounds, because you actually get 3 crystals in addition to your artifact. But yeah, who would have known? And the spell offer is finally showing a blue spell, because we do have a lot of blue mana. which is space bending and time bending. That also quite interesting. Let's refresh the unit offer. There will be only one silver unit left, which are peasants. And our first 2 gold units are fire golems and the Delphana masters. So they can't be hired with Call to Glory, which means that we have to wait for the city to even attempt to hire them. There's no refugee camp currently. The peasants are not that interesting, so the fire golems, I guess it is. If we can ignore side fortifications, range fire attack 4 is quite nice, but we would have to hire them in the keep, I guess, because there's currently no mage tower in sight. So we flip this to the knight side. And let's shuffle the dummy deck. That should be enough. Let's give it a final cut. We are readying my skills. So we now have 2 mana and healing skills, which is quite nice, I think. And Know Your Prey, which will come in handy. Let's ready the units as well. And we still do have to heal our trusty foresters. They are still the unit with the most armor I have. So again, this should be enough. We can already reveal our first hand of 6 cards, which is the Promise, a mana draw, Determination, Improvisation, Crystallize, and Shield Bash. First source is green, green, white. We remove the 2 tactics. And what's left is to choose the Knight tactic. So I think the approach should be clear that we need to take the keep, because that's 3 card hand limit. So we are at 9 instead of 6. We don't have a motivation skill. So cards are really a limiting factor, so taking the keep is quite essential. So we have to move over, and that's because of the wasteland. It costs 10 move to even get there. In the opening hand, we do not even have a move card except for improvisation, but we do have the promise that we might need to hire the fire golems. We don't have preparation, which means that we either go first, which I don't think I will do. I think I have to risk a shorter night. I've prepared the deck of the dummy a lot that he will probably give me a lot of time. So I'm thinking I'm going for sparring power. So to alleviate the problem with the hand limit. So I really want to have a really big hand to try something like this. We do need a lot of mana, so we should start crystallizing, probably a green mana token. And I don't think Mana Surge is that good, at least not compared to Sparring Power, and the Midnight Meditation is just a repair card or after the first assault, but I think I have to make the first assault count because I can only do 1 Earthquake, so the more tokens I can kill with the Earthquake the better, otherwise it will be much harder to take the city. So all in all, I think I need every power I can get, so I'm probably taking Sparring Power, hoping for the dummy to take from the dusk, so I can use Mana Surge for the last night, or just make sure I go first, whatever. Yeah, so let's take Sparring Power. I did not give myself the green crystal from ending last day at the mine. It was part of the plan to go there. So I was so caught up in revealing the tokens that I forgot about the crystal. That's quite important, I think, because you need all the mana you can get if you want to do a city assault with something like a level 12 city. So the dummy goes for the tactic Midnight Meditation. Okay, which means I can either go first or clear up the source, depending on what's more important in the last night. This means this is the first time the dummy actually goes in front of me. But I hope we are a bit more lucky with the blue cards this time and maybe just remove them instead of hitting them right away. Let's see what the dummy does. Green, blue, green. Okay, so 1 blue is gone and we have a very short first turn for the dummy. Alright, so we do have a shield bash, which I don't think works well against the summoner, because if I block the summoned unit, it won't reduce the armor of the summoner. I'm not 100% sure about this, but why risk it? It's a question anyway if I should even attempt this, because I will level by taking the keep. This gives me my slot. With any chance I can then use any of my influence cards to hire the fire golems and then try to attempt the Megalopolis. So Crystallize would be good to get another green crystal. Okay, it's blue and white, I have enough already. We do have an influence card already, another battle card, and the improvisation with the mana draw. So I think I have to use the improvisation to move, just to get going, but I can't even power it, unless I'm using the mana draw, which I probably should do. Turn one of the green crystals red, crystallize one of the red tokens. Then I would have movement 5, but I need 6 to get to the spawning grounds. Unless I want to reveal here as well. But I think I should not do that. I could also start with healing the foresters, because they give me nice movement, but neither forest hills nor swamps I have in my way. So I think I'd rather have them in the battle to block. It's a bit sad that I can't use mana draw for the city then, but I do have to get going. And it does help me because I can then prepare red mana. So I think I want to hop onto the spawning grounds at least. Revealing would mean that I'm losing one movement of the 5. That doesn't sound efficient at all. So I think I have to play one of these sideways, but it's nothing I'm looking forward to be honest, because these are 2 good block cards. But block won't kill them, at least not unless I have counter attack. Getting attack 3 for each enemy block this turn is so huge, this will just wipe out the whole city with Earthquake. Earthquake block, just wipe them out. Well, it's no good, I have to progress, so I think I will play the Determination sideways to keep the shield bash, because it can reduce the armor of enemies. And it's actually efficient against swift enemies, so it gives me the same amount of block, but has more abilities. Which means that I will use the mana draw with a white source die. I could use a crystal to not reroll the source and deplete it, but why? I think I'd rather keep my crystals, because then I have a white die or a white crystal definitely, so I don't need to get lucky with the source. And I will turn a green die red, which gives me the red token I need for improvisation and 1 for crystallize. This gives me a combined movement of 6, and Wolfhawk can then go to the plains and to the spawning grounds. This goes to my inventory. This was turned red and stays red. This is re-rolled, and I've already played 5 of my cards, which is not a good... but at the start of the turn I would have put a card under sparring power. So these are all discarded. I'm holding on to this definitely, and I'm re-rolling the white die. Comes up green again. We are drawing to 6 cards. So there's a Stamina, a Threaten, a Tirelessness, an Endless Gem Pouch, and a Tranquility. That might not be the best hand to assault the keep, but yeah, what can you do? Look what the dummy is doing. Green, red, white. So unfortunately no blue card that was discarded, but another short turn. So who am I to complain about that? The pouch might be something that I need to break for the city assault. I'm not sure about that, of course. If I should do that, it would be better if I can do without. But I do need black mana from somewhere, and there's at least 1 guaranteed black mana and a lot of tokens. But then again, I have enough tokens, but I don't have the mana draw anymore. So that's the bad thing about this. So I think I should go to the keep now. This I can probably use to heal. I have too many move cards, but I can maybe use this to my advantage to do reveal even 2 tiles maybe, which would be a total of 8 movement, because these are all eligible for core tiles. Then I have a lot of my revealing already done, and I don't have them cluttering up my hand. Although move will help me in the battle with the Wings of Night to make enemy tokens not attack, but there aren't enough move cards still in the deck. I do have the ambush, but this is usually used to attack the city in the first place. I already tossed the promise, so if I already also tossing the threaten, then I won't have that much influence cards to even hire the golems. I'm at -3 currently, and after assaulting I'm at -5. That doesn't sound like a good strategy. Also played the improvisation already, but for hiring at least the charm spell will count as an influence of 7. So 4 from the spell and a discount of 3. That's something. Yeah, but it won't work. So I'm not sure I can toss this. I probably need to hold on to this, which means I don't even have cards to take the keep currently. So maybe I do a preparation turn. I do need to get rid of some of the blue mana anyway. So I think I will just play the Stamina and do use the Tranquility finally to heal. This is a good idea. I have so many healing things here. But I can probably use this after the battle to not clog up my hand, because I don't need that many crystals of these colors. So what about the pouch? Where do I get my black mana from? If I take the spawning grounds, my problem is that I just don't have enough firepower left, I think. Actually this is our second turn, so another card goes under sparring power. So the dummy is playing quite slow, so I shouldn't hurry too much. But I do think this Tranquility here doesn't serve me any purpose. So I should probably heal, use the Stamina, maybe use the pouch. But again, I do need my black mana. It's just 1 if I break it, but 1 is definitely more than 0. Maybe Mana Surge would have use after all. No, I can't justify breaking this without knowing if the source will be in my favor. I really need to take this keep, but rushing into the keep with this hand doesn't sound like a good idea because I want to keep my units. So let's take it a little bit slower. We won't use a source tie this turn then, that's a bit sad. So we do a move 4 to reveal this tile here. Let's see what the rose says. Also comes up green, so rotating twice. So it's not a city. This is the default orientation and we rotate it towards green. So I'm adjacent to a dragon. So it's another swamp dragon on this side. We have a green mine, a ruin which I do not know what it is, and the mage tower of an unknown defender. The mage tower could allow us to pick up, for example, time bending or the call to glory, which I would really like, because this would mean that hiring is probably not an issue, and I wouldn't mind picking up demolish as well. But it's a little bit of the wrong direction, and I feel like I'm running out of time if I try that. Because assaulting here, my reputation would go down, I have to assault this, I'm already at -X, so maybe I should kill a dragon if this is in any way, shape or form possible. This would fix my reputation, so I'm back at -2 if I then also take the keep, which makes hiring much easier. I think I will reveal the next tile, nevertheless. So if this is the next Megalopolis, then at least I know what I'm up against. But I still have the chance to just play move 2 and go on to the keep. The mage tower is actually in swampland, so that's not good. I don't think it's the right play to go there currently. I think I should take the keep. But if I now move to the keep, I would only have shield bash to work with. But where does the attack come from? So I don't think that's a good plan. So let's reveal here and then play a little bit slower. Die comes up golden, so it stays as it is. And it's the green city where this is the default orientation. So I don't need to roll for the city because it's just the other two colors. Oh, it doesn't matter. Yeah, okay, I just put the white city on the white space, but it doesn't matter at all because these are completely interchangeable. So we do have the red and the blue, and this would be to the right, as description says. I think it actually mentions that there won't be any orcs then. The adjacent orcs are hags. Then there's also a glade and a village. And the really nice thing is that the keep here is well positioned that I can even assault this megalopolis with my supply line. The interesting thing about the hags is that I can just run them into the guardian golems and they won't be poisoned because I don't actually get a wound, so there's nothing to duplicate. But I would still need 5 attack to actually kill them. But if I move into the keep, I have to kill them. But this will offset a reputation loss, which is actually, I think, a good thing. Alright, so we have to play more cards, so I think I will play the Tranquility to heal, which means I've played the Stamina and the Tranquility so far. And the question still is, do I want to draw only 2 cards or play the Pouch and draw 3 cards instead? But where does my black mana come from? I do have revealed the Glade, but this won't help at all because I want to assault from a supply line. The Shield Bash is actually quite a good skill against the Swamp Dragon because it does count twice against Swiftness, so whatever block I create will just, well, if I power it, it just blocks the Swamp Dragon. And any blocker beyond that will reduce its armor. So I could, for example, reduce the armor by 4 by using the Guardian Golems. No, the block from this is not efficient. Only this block gets. So yeah, due to the swiftness, this won't work as well as I thought. But again, it would just block it. But how do I come up with 9 damage? So I think I should go into the keep, but I have to draw more cards and cards that actually help me. And I'm a bit hesitant to just go on with the next turn, because if I draw 2 cards that don't help me, what am I doing then? Let's hope the dummy gives me enough time and just keep the pouch for the moment. So we are drawing up to 6. There's a march that doesn't help at all. And an ambush. Really not the cards I would like to see. Well, the ambush technically does increase the first block of any type by 4, which means the Shield Bash would have block 9. That might be a play to get rid of the dragon, but drawing another movement card is really not what I wanted to see. Doesn't matter, so we have decided this, so let's go on with the dummy. And he plays green, red, and red, which unfortunately is 2 more cards. Let's hope there's at least a blue under this. So another red and a blue. Okay, so we are now approaching our 3rd turn. So we are putting one card under Sparring Power. So I'm tempted to play Ambush. So Shield Bash hopefully makes the defenders trivial to kill if I play this first, because this will reduce the armor of the enemy. And then any card, pretty much, even the March, which is useless, will probably just kill the defenders. And then we can finally progress, draw a lot of cards higher, and then approach the Megalopolis. I think that's the play here. So I'm playing Ambush with the green source die, which gives me move 4, which is enough to assault the keep in the Wastelands. I do have to keep in mind that there are hags, but again, I can just ignore them if I just bump them into the golems. I did not even need to kill them, but I do provoke them. So I'm at -5 reputation for the penalty, and by provoking them I have to now also battle against them. And the defending token is Crossbowman. So it's lucky that it's swift and there's nothing else really going for them. So one option would be, again, to just run the the hags into the golems and those into the foresters, which I can trivially heal and get the crystal back in the process. And then I just, in quotes, have to come up with 9 attack. But this is exactly my problem. I didn't draw any and I don't want to use my troops. So I think I will finally use another blue for shield bash. This will block the crossbowman. So it's 5, 9, double to 18. But it's inefficient, so it's 9 again. And it's 5 block more than needed, so it's technically reducing by 5. And the march will just kill it. And as I said, the hags I don't really can kill, because again, I don't have the 5 damage currently. But I can just be run into the golems, and due to physical resistance, nothing bad will happen. So I spend another 2 cards that I really like for the city assault to take this keep. But I think it's worth it, because now I have a hand limit of 9. And I don't see any other way, and I do need my influence card if I want to hire like in a regular way. There's an argument to be had to use the tirelessness sideways, because I do have green mana in the source and the green crystal, and I might, for example, reveal the last core tile here to see if there's anything useful. I think I have to do it like this. So ambush with a source die for movement 4, go to the wasteland, get a penalty. First block card I play has its value increased by 4. That's a block 9. It counts twice against enemies with swiftness, but the block is inefficient. It gets -1 for each block higher than needed to a minimum of 1, which is 1. So I play the tirelessness to kill them. This does make me level, because I get 3 fame. I'm at 48 now. So I get my 4th command slot. I did use a crystal, unfortunately, another 3 cards. And I do still want to hold on to these cards. The march, if anything else, I can use it to reveal another tile. And I'm drawing 6 cards now, so yeah, I think that should be enough. Let's reroll the source die. Comes up red. Actually, it's not that likely to roll black, unfortunately. So I'm going through this deck quite quickly. But then again, if I draw 6 cards now, I will have only 1 left. So I'm not sure if I, at that point, just use Sparring Power. But let's draw the cards first. 6 plus 3. We have to mark the keep with our shield. And we are drawing a Concentration, a Tremor, Wings of Wind, Rage, Charm, Swiftness, and the last card we do not draw. So very nice, obviously. But let's first see what the dummy is doing. Blue, very nice. Green and a white card. So he has 5 cards left. We have seen 3 blues already, and we have seen all red cards. So unless we hit the blue, we do have 4 turns. If we haven't hit the blue, we have 3 turns. Alright, so do we put this under Sparring Power? If we take everything now, we won't see this card at all. So we put it under. Do anything pretty much if as long as we play 1 card. No, we don't even need to. Yeah, we just next turn take everything and then we have our full deck. If we can add some cards, then we can even draw that. So I think Charm is very nice here, as well as Threaten, because these are both influence cards. Then we do have the Concentrated Swiftness again, and the Gem Pouch, which I still want to keep and see if we get a black mana in any other way. The Wings of Night and the Earthquake would be quite nice for the city. To reduce everything, make the hard tokens not attack at all, and then just kill everything. Killing everything means I need a Rage. And I think in the pile of cards there will be at least 1 Rage. There's also the Intimidate. I think I will get really into the X territory quite soon. So this is the card that actually makes us attack the city. But I feel like with at -5 it's quite hard to hire. If I power them both, I would get 5, 9 and a discount of 3. This is 12. -5 is 7 and I need 8. Fair enough. I can't use Possess then, but I think it's better to have a level 3 unit at my disposal. So yes, let's do this. Let's power everything. That would be a red source die. Then I'm at X anyway. Power Charm. So this would be the set 9 with a discount of 3. Means they are costing 5. We have 9. -5 is 4. So we need 1 more point. The hex still live here. I didn't kill them. So I think I have to play the march sideways. There is still the other march in the pile. So we'll have movement card. But again, movement is necessary for the Wings of Night. So having at least 1 move card would still be good. And I don't have the improvisation, but I do have another Swiftness, which can also be used for movement. So it's the Swift Reflexes of Wolfhawk. I don't think I added another movement card to my deck. So it's either 1, 3 or 6 movement that is helping me. I do have the Foresters for move, but I can't argue against tossing anything else. I want to keep the spells. I want to keep the combination definitely. Although I can't ignore side fortifications anyway, so it's probably better just to use them for move and make enemies not attack. Use the Earthquake with the pouch. Then we need a red mana for the Intimidate, for example, to generate so much attack that we can just kill lots of tokens. Yeah, let's get rid of the March. So there's another card sideways for a combined influence total of 10. -5 is 5. Discount of 3 means we can hire the golems for 5. This is all discarded, and we do have the fire golems. We then reroll this. There's nothing else we will do. And next turn we will have our full deck and see if we have another 3 turns or just 2. During interaction we can't do anything else. We will have, due to the threaten that we powered, we will be at X. So if we want to hire anything else, but there's nothing else to hire in this keep. So let's reroll the die. Comes up green, so still no black. So seems like we can power only one spell after all. We will see. So the dummy plays green, white, and there's one blue card in this, which is not this card, so it's green. So next turn it will run out of cards, then announce the end of round. So one of this should be blue, yes. 3 turns, and we are taking all the cards from Sparring Power now. So unfortunately it's only 4 cards. Nevertheless, we do have another Rage. We do have the Swift Reflexes, the Intimidate, and the March we were talking about. So at this point, the only thing we are really lacking is the second black mana to power both spells, because then we could use the Earthquake to get an armor -4 reduction on all the tokens, and we could make a lot of tokens not even attack. The nice thing about the Fire Golems is also that they are physical resistant, so 2 tokens I can just run into those and it won't matter at all. But this is the time. We are in the end of the second night. We do have still 3 turns, so we could prepare, but every turn we prepare, it wouldn't mean that we lose at least 1 card. We have to play 1. So I think I have to assault and see what happens. I really need this counter attack. This would be so nice. So unfortunately our crystal supply was dwindling quite fast. So I do think to have a stab at this scenario, we need to break the pouch. That would give us a mana token of each basic color and 1 black token since it's night. So let's mark that here just to show it off. And I think not playing Earthquake is quite stupid. So we should do this, which means that the Wings of Night doesn't help us much because the movement is not important currently, which means that we have to deal with all these attacks in some other way. But once it comes to counterattack, I think we have quite a lot of firepower. So let's see what we can do. There are these brutal attacks, and the physical attacks we have to remember they all have poisonous. So if they are getting through and wounding something, we will have lots of more wounds to deal with. So the Foresters, for example, they could just block. So I'm putting it on their token, one of the thugs, and the brutal is no longer relevant. The shock troops, for example, could reduce the attack of the freezers by 3. Then we have to assign them, but because they are not taking any damage, they will not be destroyed. So I'm also putting it on this token because we need to activate them for this. And we won't have the other abilities, but I don't think that range attack is useful at all in this scenario. So this is also why the concentration would probably better spend elsewhere. We'll see. We can then take the regular attack 3 of 1 token against the golems because they're physical resistant. I will probably have to take the attack of the altar mages myself because they have a cold fire attack. I don't worry currently about the poison because it's just going to the discard pile, and with brutal and 4 armor I'm getting 2 wounds from them. I can take 5 wounds without being knocked out. That's not good, but at least this token is then also dealt with. So I haven't yet calculated how much attack damage I have, but I think I might have to use something like a rage here to take care of the golems, to just block them, because it's another wound that something would get. But then again, if I want to run anything into the fire golems, I probably have to do it with this. This doesn't matter in which direction because the others are just too high or brutal. That would leave these 3 here. But I might want to do it differently. They have an physical resistance of 4, armor 4 and physical resistant. So if I reduce the attack, for example, of the swordsman with swift reflexes, I can then run these into the golems. I think that's more efficient. And at that point, I would still get 5 wounds to the 2, so this would knock me out. So I have to still assign more damage to units. The block 4 is not that interesting. Well, it is to get rid of the thug, because the brutal only doubles it if it's not blocked. So this would make sense. So the blue token I'm producing with the pouch should probably go here then. Then we could use the guardian golems to block the thugs. So currently I would still get 3 wounds and not be knocked out. So this might be something that I want to let through. We will see. So the movement here is just to enter the city. Let's put the tokens up here. So these would give me 2 wounds as planned, and these would just 5 attack, means 2 wounds, and this is 1 wound. I would also get these to discard pile, so that's quite an issue, but not something I need to worry about now. And I can still activate the fire golems, for example, to block these here. And I haven't run any units in these 2. So the foresters at least I should probably utilize, but it doesn't sound efficient because it's 5, but I don't want to wound these units. So this was already with the swift reflexes quite a good play, I think. Reducing this won't do anything. So let's see, I could at this point take it without being knocked out. So I should think about the counterattack, how much I can actually kill. And then depending on that, I will use the fire golems to either block more and, for example, run them through the forester. So they get a wound, I get a wound. But that's pretty much it. So I'm only getting 3 wounds, 3 to discard pile. Forster will have 2. But I do have my healing skills if I don't need the mana now. I can still use Know Your Prey, but I think I want to use this to kill the altar mages to ignore the physical resistance because I don't have any elemental damage, at least not enough. So this is why this is an MVP skill for things like this. The rest doesn't matter at all. Fortification is irrelevant, and that these 2 have physical resistance, I won't worry now about that. Alright, so how much damage can I do? I do need a lot of red mana, so I will probably take the gem pouch token, 1 crystal and a source die to power all the damage skills. I can then use a green crystal to also power the swiftness, and while I'm at it, make it damage points more efficient. That would be 5, 12, 20 damage. The enemies are at +1 due to the White City. Did cast Earthquake and they are all fortified. So they are all getting armor -4. So they're at net -3. So this means we have 2, 4, another 4 is 8, another 4 is 12, then another 2 is 14. And if we ignore the physical resistance of the altar mages, it's another 5. So we had 19. And we can group all these enemies together, so they would all be dead. But we do have 1 damage point over. So I think we might even be able to kill everything, because these 2 tokens, even though they are physical resistant, they only have 1 and 2 life, so it's 3 combined. So we need 6 for them. But if we use the fire golems, because they have fire attack, range attack 4 will actually just kill them. Because they have 1 and 2 armor. 3, 4 damage fire will actually kill them. So if we use those, we can't power all the red cards here, but we would be able to kill these tokens. This means we have 2 attack less. So instead of 20, we have 19, but we do have the Wings of Wind to play sideways. It would mean that I currently have 5 wounds, 5 in the discard, because of these 2, and this 1, unless I'm running the gargoyle through the foresters. This would pretty much mean that I'm offloading 1 wound from the hand and 1 from discard pile, both onto the foresters, which I like more. And I could wound something else, but these are all level 2 or higher, so with the poison I would pretty much never be able to heal them. And we do still have the white token from the pouch. Alright, so this probably means that we will use the white token from the pouch to power the swiftness on its own. Let's move the tremor over here. And then this is just a regular attack card. This would open up to power a different card with concentration, but there's only attack I can increase, because blocking might be interesting, to be honest. And I can't create a black token of concentration, unfortunately. So this would give us much more attack. So let's think about using this, for example, to power rage. What would we end up with? So we would have 3, 10, 14, 20 again, and we save a card and use the mana for this. The mana gave us +2 attack, the card just gave us 1, so we are now 1 attack over, but we saved the card. That's the point here. If we use these 6 attack to kill these 2 tokens with an ineffective attack, we would only have 14 damage left, which is not enough to kill the rest, because I'm looking at using the block to block this, run this through the forester, so I get even 1 wound less. But 14 damage is unfortunately not enough to kill everything else, because this is 19, and since this is 5, this is pretty much the 14. So the question is, do I actually want to kill this enemy or just ignore it and have another assault? But I think it's too tempting to just take the city in the first go and have 2 more turns left, because I will definitely level, so I get another card, although it's all combat cards, to be honest. But I do have to still the Winds of Wind. I won't have any ready units, but I can use influence. Well, I'm at X still, and I'm using the intimidate, so I'm really at X. So the shields won't help, but I do have a lot of shields. So once I kill anything else, so maybe this is the time to think about the hacks as well. So I'm not sure if the reputation plus is after the end of turn reputation minus. I think it counts as combat reward. It probably doesn't work. Doesn't feel right anyway because I'm at -X already. So maybe I spend another turn killing them after I take the city. Well, I can't, but I can maybe move over and kill the summoners, because I'm technically at one of these spaces. I'm entering here and I can't kill a dragon without any cards. Yeah, but I can't even move back to the city without any cards. So I think it's a good plan. Let's execute it. I'm taking the first Megalopolis of a 12 to 14 scenario at the second night, so almost at the end. But I do have more turns, so let's go through. So we are moving with March into the city and assaulting a fortified site, so technically it would be another reputation penalty, but I'm at X already. I'm then facing these 8 tokens, 5, 8, yeah. In the range and siege attack phase, I'm literally doing nothing because I don't have any siege damage and all enemies are fortified. I'm then breaking the pouch. I've already distributed the tokens, so let's get rid of this. It's unfortunate, but as said, if you can't get any black mana, having the first assault without casting any of my 2 spells would be disastrous, to say the least. So I do get a lot of tokens, so probably these two, and this. Let's say these 5 here. I'm using 2 to cast Earthquake. All enemies get armor -4, which are fortified, but these are all. And with the +1 from the city, they're all at net -3. This is then all not immediately relevant. I will activate the Foresters for block 3 and block the Thugs, so they are blocked. Let's make our block pile here, or dealt with pile here. I will use the blue token to activate Guardian Golems to produce block 4 to block the other Thugs. The Swordsman will then run into the Guardian Golems because they're physical resistant, they don't do any damage. The Shock Troops will reduce the enemy attack of the Freezers by 3, which lowers it to 0. Any damage from the attack must be assigned to this unit first, even if the enemy has Assassination, but it's attack 0, so it's technically blocked. I will then play the Swift Reflexes. To actually reduce it by 2, I have to power it. So this I forgot, but I do have a crystal left. So I'm reducing one enemy attack by 2. This reduces this attack to 4. Let's remove the crystals already. So I can run the Swordsman. These were Guardsmen. So I run the Swordsman into the Golems because they're physical resistant. They are not damaged. These 2 tokens, I will get 2 wounds each because they are brutal. So it's 8 attack, I have 4 armor, that's 2 wounds. 5 means again 2 wounds. I will get 4 wounds in total to the discard pile, which hurts definitely. And then we have the last token, which I will run into the Foresters. So it's all also taken care of. But since it's poisonous due to the Green City, they will get 2 wounds. So let's rearrange this here. So these are the 4 wounds I will have in hand together with the card I will most likely not use. Alright, so we have these enemies here. I will then activate, and so all the tokens are taken care of. Now in the attack phase, I'm using the red source die with the fire golems for range fire attack 4. Due to the earthquake, these are at 2, these are at 1. So 4 damage is enough, even though they are physical resistant. So these 2 are defeated. That's 8 total fame. So we are at 56. Then we are flipping Know Your Prey to ignore the physical resistance of the altar mages. And at that point, none of these tokens is physical resistance, so I can group them together. Everything else doesn't matter at all. So let's rearrange them again to make it easy on us. So all these 5 tokens here are at armor 2, so these are 6, which pretty much is a concentrated rage. The freezers are at 4, so this is just a regular rage. And these 2 have a combined armor of 4 and 5, so 9. But I have 7 and 3 is 10, so these are also taken care of. So I will discard all this mana. It's all used. All these cards are then also used. At the end of round I will get a reputation -2, but we have defeated all these tokens here. Actually the thugs will give me a reputation. So let's do the others first. So that's a combined total of 10, which makes me level up. Then we have another 12, and this will be 4 more fame, which makes me level up again. So we have to move the map even further. Let's put the city cards here, so that we do not forget, at least do this part of the level up. So these are the cards we will have in hand. And the question really is what happens with the reputation. So I started with X, the assault make me stay at X. Then I will get -2 at the end of round because of the intimidate, but I will get +2 because of the thugs as a combat reward. So unfortunately it's quite important how these things interact. I will definitely get this after the penalty for assaulting the city. That's much as clear. That's even written in the rules. But the -2 from the Intimidate is now quite interesting. When do I actually get that? do I get this before or after this? Because this would make a huge difference. If I get these after the penalty, I'm at -3 with a lot of shields, so I'm actually net positive by 5 or something like this. So I can even hire the Delphana Masters probably. Maybe not. But again, I can use the abilities here. So for example, learn another advanced action. So I spent a little bit of time to looking this up, but I think it's quite an interesting problem, since this is not concerned about the timing with interaction, where I think the timing is quite clear by now, that once you start interaction, the bonus is applied, and then whatever reputation changes you do, for example by threaten, don't matter anymore. But for me the question is really if it's still the end of turn, which I think was removed, the sentence in after Lost Legion, because it was made clear that, well, the bonus applies right away, and then further changed reputation don't matter anymore. And this would support the thesis that reputation changes happen whenever you do something that changes the reputation. For example, assaulting the city will give me -1 right away. I think this is so far is clear. I'm at X and I'm staying at X. Then I would get the +1 by defeating the thugs when I defeat them, and I would get a -2 from Intimidate when I use it. If this is the case, but my card still says at the end of turn, then I could use the Intimidate before defeating the thugs. I think with so many tokens that would not be an issue to coordinate this in a way that I first get -2 from Intimidate and then I'm defeating the thugs, so I'm at -3 actually. But as stated, my Intimidate skill is not from the Lost Legion, so it's from the base game and still says at the end of your turn. So this is something I have to do later. So yeah, there's two theses. One is that this was just to avoid confusion, that it might actually matter with your interaction, that you get the influence 8, but only get a bonus after you lost the reputation, so to make that clear in the base game. And for Lost Legion, this was actually dropped. So one thesis would be it's all immediate now, but you first get the influence, then the reputation minus. And once you declare interaction, so you don't even have to use this before starting interaction. And the other thesis is no, it still says at the end of your turn, which means that this is probably immediate and this is at the end of turn. So I could see both, and I think I will go with the safe route of saying that I do not get a +2 now, so I'm staying at X. I think it will make a difference, and with such a challenge, these kind of nuances are quite important. So the question is, do I interrupt here and wait for a judgment on the forums, or do I just go on with the X reputation? What I definitely will have are these 8 shields, 4 on both cities, but it's a megalopolis, so it doesn't change much. Actually, I am also at a white city currently. And the things I could do with reputation is put a gold unit to the offer for 2 and hire whatever I want. And I think that would be a big deal with an open skill slot, and seeing that I have 2 turns left. So I could spend 1 turn, because I have a net positive influence. If I'm at -3 and I have 8 shields, I'm at +5. It's already quite good. So I could spend a turn to reveal 2 units, for example, and then maybe recruit something. And what I could definitely do is buy an advanced action. But if I'm at X, I would have to defeat something. And then since I'm at a white city, I can only defeat a dragon. For this, I have to move out again, or I have to move over to the green city space. I can use both abilities, but I'm still at one particular location and movement costs 2 as usual. So I think I want that clarified, and we'll make a break here. Shout out to Ryan for the quick reply and clarifying things. So the consensus seems to be that with Lost Legion, the part of the card that says at the end of your turn is no longer necessary to clarify the interaction with, well, literally interactions. Because in Lost Legion, all these effects should happen right when they apply. Like from Assault, I get -1 immediately. When I play this, I now get it immediately, and then when I defeat the thugs, I also get it immediately. And I think I used Intimidate together with a Swiftness for 10 attack to defeat the Delphana Masters and some other token. So I can definitely play the Intimidate before I defeat the thugs. So overall, I will be definitely at X for most of the turn, but then after defeating the 2 thugs, I get +2 reputation. That's huge, obviously, but it kind of makes sense. So this concludes the city battle, but I do have to process the level up. I already gave me the additional command slot. So next part is skill selection, and the choices between Wolfhawk's cooperative skill, which is the Hall of the Pack. So with this skill, I can play a card sideways for 4, +1 for each unused command slot, but not for interaction. So that's already quite useless for the next 2 turns, where I almost have no cards in the city and I do want to interact. And then another player, so in solo it's me, I can take this the next turn to reduce 1 attack and an armor of an enemy token by 1. And the second skill choice is the taunt ability, where I can either reduce the attack of an enemy token by 1, or I can increase it by 2, reduce its armor by 2. I think this is quite an interesting skill early on, but for the huge city assaults I think it's not good enough. And this also does not combine obviously with range attack, so you have to deal with the attack, otherwise it would be too strong even. So that's not a good choice, because I do want to take counterattack. I definitely want to take that, which means I cannot take a dummy skill, but I should really do that. Knight sharpshooting, the motivation skill, even who needs magic would be preferable, I guess. But then again, maybe this skill is not that bad after all. I could take Mana Storm just to take one of Tovak's skills and then use one of the interactions to come up with 6 influence to just learn one other skill in the green city. So I could learn counterattack like this, and Mana Storm could actually give me a crystal, if nothing else. I don't think I will play Wings of Wind, because I don't have black mana to, for example, not have the dragon attack, but I would not even come up with the attack of 9 to destroy it. I don't have any movement to go over to... So it's all quite useless, to be honest. So I will probably play that sideways. But playing it sideways for 5 attack, block or movement, because it's not useful in interaction, doesn't do that much for me, I think. So my point is I wouldn't know what to do even with these 5 attack, block or movement. So if I take Tovak's skill, who needs magic, I could at least get 2 influence or even 3 if I can't use a source die in one of the interactions. That might actually make the difference, because I am at net +5 with the -3 and the 8 shields, but 5 is not that much. So if I want to hire anything from the level 3 or 4 elite units, 5 influence won't cut it. So this would at least bring me up to 8. But if I take any of Tovak's skills, I'd rather really want the motivation or the sharpshooting, but I would not be able to use either of those. So maybe it is just 5 + 1 to 6, so I can learn another advanced action, taking the Mana Storm and the preferable skill now, and then learning the counter attack. So maybe that's the play here. And I can still hire at the beginning of the next day, so there's really no rush. I think that kind of settles it, so I won't pick any of these skills, which means I will learn Mana Storm. The sharpshooting skills are not yet that useful, because I do not have a way to remove fortifications yet, and I do like the motivation. Although it gives blue mana, but it does give mana at all. Who needs magic is I usually want to use the source die. So I have 2 turns left. If I use the first one to play the Mana Storm, I have to take care that I can only play, so I have to play a card for each turn, and I will have only 2, unless I'm buying another card. So I do like to have a shot at hiring, so I think I will even take this. Maybe motivation is better, but I think I'd like this because it gives me a way to get influence, maybe movement. Maybe it comes in clutch to, if the source is dead, to have 3 movement from a sideways card instead of 1. So I am taking who needs magic. That finally settles the assault of the White City, or the Megalopolis of the Green and White City. I did do both level ups. I did place my shields. Wolfhawk is now in the White City space, which means I'm drawing. The keep supply line is actually still better than being the city leader, because it's still +3. But I don't have that many cards either anyway. So the dummy will then exhaust this deck. He has just 2 cards left, which means I have 2 turns, so I have to reroll the die. I forgot that. And now it comes up black. That's actually quite interesting, because it means that I can use the Wings of Wind as the Wings of Night to not have, for example, the dragon attack, if I would have any chance to kill it. The advanced action offer refreshes to Force of Nature, which gives siege attack. That's really interesting. So let's think this through. I'm at +5 if I interact. I do need to buy one of these cards. So if I do not use the Mana Storm to get a crystal, but instead use it for who needs magic, I can bump it up to 8. So I can learn something and reveal a unit. And then next turn I can decide what I want to do. I can get up to 8 again. So either I can hire it, or I can learn yet another skill. Actually, I can, if I learn a skill, I can use that again for who needs magic. So if I do not want to use Wings of Wind, and actually I don't see where I would go even, as already laid out, the keep is in a perfect position to assault the other megalopolis, and I don't want to leave the cities until the next day because of hiring. If I go to the keep right now, I would have to move back probably. So I think I want to use... Well, let's start the interaction with +5 and pay 2 to reveal a unit. So I have 3 left, and I can get 3 to get another skill card. So I'm using the White City to reveal a elite unit, which are catapults. So they cost 9, but I think I can make that work. So I'm at 3. So I still have 3 influence. So I'm now using the Wings of Wind sideways with no source die to give me 3 influence. So I'm at 6, and this is enough in a green city to learn an advanced action, and I definitely want to pick up counterattack. This is far too good with the current combination I have with Earthquake to just kill everything, especially with units that can block. The advanced action offer refreshes with Frostbridge. I think it's no longer that useful because the positioning is all quite clear. So this is the turn. We did not use a source die. I think it's quite clear that we want to get rid of the wounds in hand, so I will heal 2 with these 2 skills, which give me a blue and a white crystal. So the dummy announces the end of round, and if I interact again, I draw the counterattack first, and now if I interact again, I do get another +5. So I'm missing 4 influence to get the catapults, and I can do this by playing both cards sideways, so I won't get a crystal, but with Who Needs Magic, if I don't use a source die again, I get 4 influence. So there's a total of 9, and I get the catapults as a nice pickup at the end of the second night. So that's insanely good. 5 siege attack is so huge, especially with something like Earthquake. So this reputation clarification really makes a huge difference. I think I'm quite well prepared now for the second Megalopolis, and I still have a full day to think about how to do it. But I think I want Earthquake, so if we don't get an artifact that lets us use spells at night, I don't think I will assault the city in the day. Unfortunately, we cannot heal these wounds, but we will have our skills again. These cards are discarded, and that's the end of the second night. I think we are quite on track to defeat this scenario. So let's start with the dummy again. Unfortunately, he will pick up a red crystal. Well, was planned, but he also picks up Decompose as a matching red card, so this was not planned. So it's the first time this is really going wrong with the dummy deck. But I'm quite happy that we added so many white and, well, mostly green, and I think 1 white card, and we still have no crystals, so with any luck we will have long rounds. So the wounds just go into my deck. Let's refresh all the skills, and we did not add one of the dummy skills, which is the Shield Mastery, that actually has some kind of synergy with the counterattack, but we'll see what the remaining Wolfhawk skills are. We flip to the day side, get rid of the used tactics again. Sparring Power is really the MVP here, because we used pretty much all the cards, so there was no wiggle room there. And we will have to decide between Mana Steal and a Great Start. I have to put the cities a bit different here so I can ready my units. Unfortunately, my foresters still have 2 wounds, and I'm not sure at this point it's worth it to heal them, or if we want to just replace them. Let's see what the unit offer brings us, but first think about control of the offers. The Force of Nature I will definitely leave because it's siege attack, and if I don't pick it up, the dummy gets a green card. And the Call to Arms spell would be a white crystal if I don't pick it up, and I think it's just too nice, even if I just use the regular ability. So I think I will leave that. There's the Temporal Portal as an advanced action, very nice, and a Restoration spell. The Temporal Portal is something that I really like, as you've seen in the last video, because it can increase the hand limit by up to 2 if you power it, and I don't think I have a problem with blue mana with Wolfhawk, because I always get a blue crystal here. And maybe if I level again, I will actually pick up the Force of Nature with the Motivation of Torok. That might be a good pickup, depending on what Wolfhawk's skill are that are still left. I should know that, but I'm not looking at that up now. So let's refresh the unit offer. The remaining silver unit is the Savage Monks. Now we are talking. And the 2 gold units are the Ice Mages, again siege attack, and Fire Mages. So I'm shuffling the dummy deck, also shuffling my deck, which contains a fair amount of wounds, unfortunately. So there's at least 6 wounds. So Restoration suddenly looks quite interesting, and the field with the hex at least is a forest field. The first source comes up as green, red, and gold, and I think we can draw up our first hand of still 9. No, we are now at 7 hand limit, because we have reached the last level with 4 armor and 7 hand limit, plus 3 from our keep, because we are still in the White City, so we are at 10 cards. So there's a first wound, Mana Storm, and second wound, third wound, Stamina, Rage, Swiftness, the Wings of Wind, another wound, and a Tirelessness. So it's 4 out of 6 wounds already, which I think is good, because that means that we can think about how to heal them. So rearranged a bit, it means that we have 2 combat camps, the Mana Storm, a lot of movement, and the Wings of Wind, which at day is a really good movement skill, but nothing else. I think this flips at day right away, so that might be something that we want to visit with Wings of Wind, but it's just 4 crystals for 2 green enemies. I think the first thing I should do really is hire and replace the foresters, so I don't have to heal them as well. And I am actually tempted to just take the Savage Monks, but the Ice Mages would just be superior, I think. Usually having the attack being Ice attack is not a big disadvantage, and I can use it for different things as well. For Ice attack and block, or just to get a lot of blue mana. But it will take 2 more influence, but that's the only thing that's really the downside. So I should think about Mana Steal versus Great Start. Great Start would mean I can pick up 2 more cards, but I'm not sure what I want to see, maybe an influence card. We could also think about replacing another unit, but I'm not sure I want to do that. I think the other units are quite fine as they are, the catapults definitely not. The Guardian Golems with the counter attack might be useful. The Shock Troops will increase the attack of the other units if I want to do that, so even more siege attack. And I don't use mana as well. I should also think about just killing a dragon now, which would give me another 2 influence bonus, so I'm at net +7, and it makes it much easier to interact with the cities. So I don't think I will take Great Start. I have a huge hand limit anyway, and I don't think this makes a huge difference, and giving up a turn for this doesn't sound like a great idea. So I'm giving this to the dummy and take the Mana Steal myself, which means I have to reserve either the green or the red die. Again, I have access to blue and white, but I have a blue and white crystal anyway. These are exactly from his skills, so that's no surprise there. So both would be valuable, but I think I want green more. If I'm drawing the Tranquility, I want to power it right away to get rid of the wounds. So we are reserving the green die. This means that I'm first again, and we are in turn 1. So to kill the dragon, we would need range attack 9. I do have 3 range attack in my hand, so another 6 would do it, which would, for example, be the Shock Troops and the Fire Golem if I go for this combination, because it increases the attack. And I think I want to stick with ranged attack because I could, for example, take the tower to get access to Restoration, for example, or Call to Arms. Maybe Call to Arms is actually quite good, as I said, because I might have siege attack in the offer. I could use the White City to fish for Alton Guardians or something like this, or Alton Mages. Want to overdo it with this. I think I should really use this day to stock up on more options. For example, take out the Spawning Grounds to get another artifact and some crystals. And then maybe take the Mage Tower to get another spell, clear the dragon and the hex, and then we are in a perfect position for the next Megalopolis. So what we could do is provoke the dragon with a crystal with range attack 3, 4, and 9, using the red die from the source. This will just kill the dragon, and we won't do anything else. We could move to the green part of the city to also kill the Orc Summoners, which would give even more reputation. I do kind of like the idea, so maybe we move there first, but we would then already use the catapults as well, and I should really have some units for the Spawning Grounds. This is also what I don't like about using all these, but I will pick up the Ice Mages anyway. So yeah, I'm not moving there now. I don't have to kill them anyway. It won't be the fame that's holding me back, I think. So let's keep it simple. I'm provoking the Swamp Dragon, which has 9 armor and no resistances. It's not fortified, and I have 1, 6, 9 damage. The crystal from inventory is used. The mana die has to be rerolled, which also comes up green. I have then only used my swiftness so far. Get 7 fame. And more importantly, a reputation bonus of 2. So I'm at -1 again. So I just played 1 card, basically. Maybe I should just use these skills to get rid of more wounds and just take the crystals and be done with it. I think I like that plan, so I can draw more cards. So let's get rid of 2, flip these, and get another blue and white crystal, which means that we are down to 7 cards. We have played 1 and gotten rid of 2 wounds, so we are drawing 3 cards, which is the Charm, Tranquility, and another wound. I think that's quite perfect, because I will use this at day for interaction, unless I'm going somewhere where there's night rules. But the only places with night rules would be the dungeon and the tomb, which we have not revealed any of, unfortunately. And we don't have graveyards from the expansion. Alright, so let's see what the dummy plays. Green, green, white. So all cards where we don't have any crystal, unfortunately, but it's a short turn. I will definitely use Tranquility with a source die to get rid of 2 wounds. So the healing process is quite good. I can think about if I want to use the Mana Steal die, because I probably want to cast Charm, because it pretty much solves all our influence problems. We should probably do this, because this is actually what I wanted to do anyway with the Mana Steal, because then we can use the gold die to cast Charm, which now gives us an influence of 7, plus 4 is 11, and if we use it for interaction we get a discount of 3. Otherwise we get a crystal, which is also quite interesting. With 11 and a discount we are kind of at 14, which means that we pick up the Ice Mages. We would even, with 1 influence more, we could pick up an advanced action. So maybe we spend the 2 influence to reveal another gold unit first, so we have 9 left, and see what comes up. Because I probably do want the crystal, But if it's something really nice, we can use the discount instead. So we don't have to cast it now. If we interact, we are at +7. So we can spend 2, are at 5, and then cast it afterwards. I think I like that. Maybe I do go fishing a bit. So we spend 2 influence to reveal a gold unit, which are another ice mages. So I'm just placing this on top. Now I'm tempted to just go on with this. I still have this for 2 influence if I like, which would still allow us to hire the ice mages and get a crystal if there's nothing coming up. But this is per turn anyway. We of course use a source die, so that's not a point, but I think I want to do that, so it's another 2 influence and I reveal another card. And it's Sorcerers. So what I like about the Sorcerers in comparison to the Ice Mages is that they can make the enemy lose all fortifications. It's then 1 point weaker than the Ice Mages, but it's much more flexible because I can then use other units and other abilities to also help kill this token. But then again, with Earthquake it's just 1 token. And we have seen that we can reduce the armor of enemies so much that Siege Ice Deck 4 can even kill two enemies. And I can only reveal or remove the fortification of 1 single unit. It does have 4 armor with both resistances instead of just 4. But it can also help against resistances. Because if we are unlucky and many enemies are resistant to physical, but we do have kind of fair amount of elemental damage already. So I'm not sure what's better here. Actually, I would not have needed to play that yet, because I start with 7 anyway, so I'm now down to 3 influence. This would be 7, and planning to pick up something for 9 means that I have to play this as well. And I think I want to pick up the Sorcerers if for no other reason than I have already units that need red and blue mana, and this takes white and green. So I think this is quite useful. So I will cast Charm now and play this sideways, so to get 6 more influence. With the 3 I already have, it's 9. So I can pick up the Sorcerers, and I will get a crystal of any color to my inventory. And I do want a green one, I think. There's an argument to be had to pick up a red one, because we can play Mana Storm to reroll the green die. We should have done that last turn probably already. But let's pick up the Sorcerers now. They're replacing the Foresters, and the wounds are just tossed away. So do I want the red crystal or not? Yeah, let's go for a red one, because we don't have any. And then use the Mana Storm to choose a mana die in the source. There's only the green one. It's showing a basic color. Again, a crystal of that color, so we get a green one anyway. Then we immediately roll that die. So that's black now. We have used all these cards as well. This was used for the turn, and we would hold on to these cards. I think that's fair enough. We have a handlement of 10 anyway. So let's reroll the other source dice. That's quite a rough break with another black and a blue. And the dummy plays green, red, and then blue. And blue is 4 more cards. So red, blue, green, and blue. At least there's a lot of blue cards gone now. But he did speed up quite a lot. But I think preparing in a city like we are doing now is quite good. But let's draw our hand. Concentration, intimidation, threaten, swift reflexes, determination, and march brings it up to 10. So there's more movement. There's influence, but this doubles as attack. There is a concentrated swiftness if you want to. And a determination card, so another battle card. So we could replace the shock troops if we want to. I just said that I increase the attack of the others. If with this current battle line, it could increase the Sorcerers to 4, this to 5, and this to 6. That's 3 points already. And it has 1 itself, so it's 4. But then again, if I have the mana, the Ice Mage was just be siege attack right away. And it makes me more flexible. And we could try to go fish again for some better units. We are currently at +7. And we do have some influence skills, even though they will plunge us back to bad reputation if we abuse them. And we don't have the mana draw yet to repair the source, so currently we have only blue mana available. I do want to pick up more cards, so I'm interested in Force of Nature because of the siege damage, but also the Temporal Portal is quite interesting. We can pick up one of them by just leveling, so I think we should probably just move on. Well, or buy one and then move on. So if we just play these for influence, the recruiting is kind of done anyway. So I'm not sure if influence or reputation in general is that valuable currently. So this alone without any mana is already 6 influence. So with another +7, we could just pick up 2 action cards right away. I think I'm doing this, and then in the next turn we move on. So I'm interacting with +7. So this is 9, this is 13. I'm getting a reputation. penalty at the end of the turn. But for 13 I can pick up 2 advanced actions, so I will do this once for the Force of Nature. Then the offer refreshes, which unfortunately will give the dummy a blue card. And there's the Firebolt. So that's an argument to not pick up the Force of Nature, but I just like the siege attack too much. And then I will definitely pick up the Temporal Portal just to have the higher hand size limit. And there's a learning coming up. So I'm not sure we need that much movement, to be honest. But we can't move before interacting. At least not if we want to stay in the Megalopolis. We can move to the green space, but to what end? So I think we leave it like that. We are drawing up. Since we have played 2 cards, we are drawing 2. So yeah, this is the Temporal Portal and the Force of Nature. No surprises there. Let's see what the dummy is up to. Red, white, and red. And by now we have 3 red crystals. So we are playing a blue. So it should be the last one. Green and green. So unfortunately a lot of cards. So he has 4 left. And this should give us, well, it does give us definitely 3 turns. So there's 1 more red card in the deck. If we hit this, we are screwed. The blue cards we already have seen. So it's a 1 in 4 chance to have 3 turns. Otherwise we have 4 turns. It should be quite enough. We could replace the level 2 units with better ones, but I think we should get going. I think I'd rather take an artifact and more crystals with the spawning grounds and take out a dragon. So I think we'll use as an action the Temporal Portal now. Do we? Doesn't make much sense because we have so many cards anyway. Well, if we have a lot of turns, then this would be a way to really stock up on cards for the spawning ground. Reroll that die. Then we don't need much movement for the rest of the day because we then can kill the spawning grounds, kill the dragon, kill the hags, and then we just have to move to the forest. Because otherwise I would need to power the tirelessness or use just 2 cards to move there. But I could then kill the hags. This would also mean I can get through the deck a bit quicker. But I don't want to kill the dragon until I've seen the dragon from the spawning grounds. Actually, no, the spawning grounds is not a dragon. It's even better. It's 2 dungeon enemies. Yeah, I should probably get going. So I'm playing 4 movement with the tirelessness to move to the spawning grounds from the White City. But that means I'm not even using a die. Maybe I should keep this for the spawning grounds and kill the hags by blocking them. And then playing Rage. Probably I should just get rid of the spell because it's quite useless. I won't move that much anyway. So I just want to reroll that die. So that would block the hags. And the Rage with Wings of Wind would kill it if I can power it. So I have to use a crystal, unfortunately. But I think I like it in this combination. So I have the Concentrated Swift Reflexes or Force of Nature. So I can also have Siege Attack 5. Temporal Portal doesn't do that much for me. Actually, I should not use the crystal. If I use this, I could, for example, just do it like this. I think the Temporal Portal doesn't do much for me. Because for the next battles, I'm already at the place where I want to be. So if I move away now, I would have to move again. So let's just do this really expensive thing here. But I have a large deck in front of me and the dummy is playing quite fast. So we are provoking the hags after moving with these 2 cards. I'm powering Determination for 5 block to just block them and reroll the die. That's the more important part. And then playing a Rage. 2 cards sideways. One of them counts as 2. So that's a total of 5 killing the hags. Gives me 5 fame. So I'm at 94. Gives me a reputation bonus. And the way is free to the next Megalopolis. So all these cards are discarded. But that's what kind of the point. So keep the best one for the next battle. Reroll the die. Shows red now. And since we are still in the vicinity of our keep, we draw 5 cards up to 10. So the Shield Bash, Crystallize, Improvisation, another wound, and a Tremor. So unfortunately no mana draw yet to fix the source. Let's see if the dummy gives me 3 more turns or just 2. So he plays white, green, so it's a 50-50 now. White. Okay, so the last one should be red, yes. So 3 more turns. And I think I just have to go to the spawning grounds now. There's no need in, or there's no sense in stalling this further. So we are drawing 2 dungeon enemies. The first one is a Medusa and the second one is a Minotaur. So they have a combined armor of 9. No resistances, no fortifications. So the Concentrated Swiftness will kill the Minotaur. But I do have to use a crystal, unfortunately, because I don't have mana. But we could think about playing the Shield Bash instead. That works perfectly against the Minotaur, because it only has an attack of 5. Let's undo this for the moment. But it would not do any reduction to the armor. So if we use Tremor, we could... That counts as 4, and then we would need 5 damage again, but it would need 2 green mana. But I can do 5 damage with the catapults, so maybe that's the play here. Play the Tremor, all enemies get armor -2, so it's 2 and 3. And just activate the catapults with some mana that I have, for example, in the source with red. So it's Siege Fire Attack 5, and I just kill these 2 tokens. I think that's the most efficient way to do it. This leaves us with lots of options. It costs us the green crystal, but yeah, that's 9 fame. So we are at 103 now. Crystal is discarded. We only played a tremor. There's nothing to crystallize, unfortunately. We are not seeing our deck really, so that's what I don't like about this. Maybe I should crystallize something from concentration, and we hopefully see mana draw. But to kill the dragon now, I would need range attack 9, so that's 5, that's 8, where we already have this also, but it all costs mana, it's the problem. Or we could use the shield bash to block it and kill it differently. I think I have to get going to be honest. Let's get rid of this stuff. So we can get any crystal. Well, we can get a crystal of any color because we can use blue to power crystallize, and so we get our green crystal back. I think I like that. We have too many cards currently, we have to get rid of them. So it clears the spawning grounds, so to speak, and we roll 3 dice, which comes up as gold, gold, and blue. So we do get a blue crystal and 2 crystals of any color. And I think I want green and red, because these are the colors we don't get from our skills. Then there's an artifact decision between the golden grail, that's kind of perfect for our wounds, and the tome of all spells. I think that's even better because then we can just use a restoration to heal. And I can use the spell offer next time to just cast a spell for nothing. That's such a good artifact. So yeah, I have to take the tome here. So that's our turn then. And we draw up to 10 cards again. So we are at 3-6. So I've played 4, it seems. So there's Tome of All Spells, there's the counter attack, there's the ambush, and finally the mana draw. The dummy finally exhausts his deck. So what I do want to do with the last 2 turns is kill the dragon. Oh, I did level up. I forgot to level up. I think it was Tome of All Spells, obviously, counter attack, ambush, and then the mana draw. So let's process the level up first. So the choice is between Deadly Aim. Yeah, now I remember. This improves the value of a card. If it's siege or range attack, it's +1. If it's any kind of attack, it's +2. So it's the kind of sharpshooting skill, but a bit more versatile. But it's only +1. Or it's the Hawk Eyes, which gives movement, allows us to reveal for 1 cost at night and see garrisons 2 away, which is much more useful if you pick it up earlier, so I won't take that. I should have rerolled the mana die, by the way. So it comes up green, that's information that we already have. So I can power the Force of Nature, for example. I could also use the Firebolt, so that would be 3 from the Sorceress, 3 from the Force of Nature, 3 from Firebolt, which just kills the dragon. So I think I'd take Deadly Aim then and not a Torvak skill. I think it's good enough. We are picking up the Firebolt and we see Into the Heat. That's a sick card to see with such an array of units. So we draw now, which of course gives us the level up card and the artifact that we pick up as a reward. 2 more cards, which we already have seen, which is the counter attack and the ambush. So I think I already did the dummy, and then I remember that I did not level up yet. So I will have 2 turns, because I just said that I want to kill a dragon and then move into position for the next round. So killing the dragon now means using the green mana for the Force of Nature, activating the Sorceress, and using a red crystal for Firebolt. This will just be 9 range attack, which kills the Swamp Dragon. I actually do see the garrison of the Mage Tower, so that's something we should consider. And it's Magic Familiars, but it remains in the swamps, but we do have lots of movement. So we could also move there, because we do have a lot of cards and still more cards in the deck coming. So can we make this work? We can even group these enemies for the range attacks. So Ambush could give us 1 more attack. If we powered even 2, could for example use the Improvisation Sideways to have move 5 to actually move into the Mage Tower. We would then need the mana die here. Once we use the Firebolt, then it will be range fire attack 5. So we are up to 8. We could get 3 more. There is also 3 more. So it would already be 14. But maybe I'm thinking too complicated, because I also have the counter attack. So if we use the Shield Bash, for example, to block the Swamp Dragon, counter attack would already deal 7 damage if we also power that. But it's all costing a lot of mana. With the ambush, can I kill the familiars at range? Well, I can with the Sorceress, Force of Nature, and Swift Reflex. That would be 7. Ah, no, that's actually +2, so it's not necessary. Or we could use the 4 block for the Shield Bash to make it a block 9 again, which reduces the armor of the dragon to 5. And then regular counterattack would already kill it, almost. And we still have Deadly Aim, so there's so many options. I think I want to try. So we would move to the Mage Tower, into the swamps, with movement 4, and already take the penalty, and then battle these 2 tokens. I think this has to work. So we need the Source die for Ambush and the Improvisation Sideways. That's movement 5 for the swamp, and the first card we play gets +4. Well, if the first card we play is a block card, we can't use the range attack phase. We could use Know Your Prey to ignore Brutal, which means that we can run these 2 attacks into our 2 units that are actually physical resistant, and then use the Shield Bash with the Ambush to get block 9. That's 4 more block than needed, so we reduce the armor here to 5. So we are probably not using the Firebolt for range attack, because we don't need range attack at all. Maybe it's even better to reduce the attack of the Swamp Dragon with 3 reflexes to 4. Then we can run that into the Fire Golems. So that would be the idea here. So Swift is only relevant if you want to block it. If we reduce it to 4, Poison is only relevant if it gets in a wound at all. So reducing one enemy attack by 1 makes it 4. Into the Fire Golems, which are physical resistant, means it's irrelevant. Then we are ignoring Brutal on the Familiars. Then we run 1/3 attack against the Guardian Golems, and there's a 3 attack left. But the first thing we play after the ambush is actually the Shield Bash, because this is only relevant for after the blocking. So the first card we play is the Shield Bash, so it still gets +4, which makes this a 9 attack, and we block this attack of 3. So we are reducing the armor of the Familiars to 1. Then we need 10 attack, and if we use the counter attack, it's already 4 plus 1 blocked enemy. Actually, it's not blocked if it has 2 attack. Well, if we block both attacks, it's just 10 attack. There's just too many ways to do this, so this is why it takes like a bit. This would also just help the counter attack. I just want to use the Shield Bash to its maximum potential, so this is why I want to block one of the attacks here. And again, I'm just lacking the cards here. I do want to use the Tome of All Spells together with the Force of Nature to cast Restoration, but we would still have the Firebolt, but that could restore our red crystal. So if we use Shield Bash for a block of 9 against one of these attacks, and a Swift Reflexes to run this into this, then we could use the Guardian Golems block 2 with a sideways Firebolt to block the other attack. And this just gives us 3 for each enemy blocked. Okay, so that would be 7, would be 9, but we do need 10. It's all just not working out. So let's think about that one more time. Maybe do ignore Brutal and just run these attacks into these 2 enemies as said, because we can't block just one enemy anyway. Then we are using Shield Bash to block the Swamp Dragon, but then we would still need 16 attack. So with the ambush, it's reduced to 5 because it's 4 more block than needed. So we need 12 attack. That's 7, that's 9, that's 10, and that's 12. Actually, we do have the golems still, so we can activate them as well. Okay. So let's run through this again. We are using the source type of ambush, sideways improvisation for a movement 5, move to the swamp. The penalty we have already taken. Assault a mage tower. These are these 2 tokens. The next card we play gets +2 for an attack or +4 for a block. So we're playing Shield Bash for block 5, which counts twice against enemy of swiftness, but it's inefficient, so it just works out. So it's a block of 9 against 5, which reduces this armor to 5 by 4 to 5. So we need 12 attack. We ignore Brutal, run these 2 attacks against these 2 enemies. This enemy was blocked, so now we are counter-attacking and we need 12 attack. We are using a crystal to get 4 attack +3 for each blocked enemy. There was 1 enemy which was blocked, so that's already 7. With the deadly aim it's 9. With the ranged attack 1 here it's 10. With the guardian golems it's 12. Which leaves us with this card, which there's no hurry to use, which means that we get 12 fame. So we had 115 and we killed a dragon. So we are up to -1. Let's get rid of all this stuff here. And this is already used for the turn. But I then want to play the Tome of All Spells with the Force of Nature. Discard a card of any color. Use the basic effect of a spell of the same color from the spell's offer without paying its cost. So this allows us to cast Restoration, which is a heal 3. So we are throwing away these 2 wounds. And I think I will hold on to this card because there won't be that many cards left. So we do get a spell, but let's first reroll the die, which comes up blue. So I think I won't Call to Arms because it would rotate out and we can at least use it to use the effect of a unit, if not higher one. But I think the effect of a unit with 2 elite units is really good for City Assault. Time Bending could be interesting, but I think we should not bank too much on black mana because there's no guarantee that we even have black mana available. And Restoration is just too passive. So let's take Call to Arms, although the dummy will get another blue crystal then. And we see a fireball in the offer. And funnily enough, the Mage Tower still had a shield from Golix, so we replaced it with Wolfhawks. And then we draw the rest of the deck, which is the Call to Arms, a mana draw, a Promise, a Rage, and then a March. Now the dummy announces end of round. And the only thing that's left is to move into position. I was not in the vicinity of the keep now, but I do have hand level 7, so this still worked out. So we do March. We don't need the Promise don't need the rage. We don't need that much actually. So it's already 3 movement to move here. So we now see the defenders. This gives us a red crystal that I gladly take. And call to arms could actually activate the fire mage or the ice mage to give us another crystal. But it would need a white mana. They both would, and there's only blue in the source. So I don't think there's anything left to do. And we just reveal the defender, and that's the end of the 3rd day. But actually, I'm not sure if it's the best plan to move to the city already. So before we reveal the garrison, maybe we rethink our last turn here. We only got the crystal and used movement 3 in day to move to the forest and just did not use these cards at all. Mana draw is quite pointless. We do have a blue mana still, but nothing blue to power. But the question really is, if we want to play the Temporal Portal for the City Assault, this is the space we need to go to, because other spaces won't have the keep hand limit increase as well. So we would have to move out of the space again next night, and then use the Temporal Portal to go back. And even more importantly, if we just stay at the Mage Tower, we will have enough cards to get another Influence 7, and we do have a blue mana die, for example. That could allow us to learn space bending, for example, or more relevant time bending. But without black mana, it would probably just be a waste to have this card in the deck. But we could have a nice time-bending turn. When it comes to black mana, the only option, regular option without any other advanced action cards or skills, is to go with mana draw, which actually gives you 2 black mana. And it will give you a black mana in the following turn, so technically it's 3. In the last City Assault, we drawn mana draw quite early, and we wanted to go through the deck and prepare, so this is why I did not have it for the assault. And it might be at the bottom of the deck, and we don't have preparation. We could also use any of our crystals to learn any other spell, so we could also take Restoration, but I don't think that's a good choice. But Fireball or more Firestorm might be a nice addition. The Siege Fire Attack A together with Earthquake will decimate some of the defenders. But then we would not start the next night in the vicinity of our keep. So what are the other options? We could go back to the spawning grounds. So to just be in the vicinity and then use the Temporal Portal if we get it to approach the city. If we miss on that card, we will have a movement cost of 5 for the forest at night. That would be bad, obviously. And we could have the option to go back to the keep even, since we do have enough movement, it seems. And maybe when we start at the Mage Tower, there will be such a good unit or such a good spell that we even want to pick that up before assaulting the city. So I think I'd rather stay at the Mage Tower. So we are not using this for movement 3. We could even think about using a white crystal for mana draw to then power call to arms and promise, because we will need influence anyway, which would allow us to activate either the ice or the fire mages, which gives us a red or a blue token as well as a crystal. That would pretty much trade a white crystal for a blue or a red, and a token can allow us to learn a spell. But then again, we probably don't need to power promise. So this was already played for a crystal, and I think I want to leave it at that. Since we are not in a city, we are currently at -1 reputation, so a spell would cost us 8 total. This could give us 2. If we power this, it would be 6. So any 2 cards sideways will do the trick to bring it to 8, which means that we wouldn't need white mana, unless we just do not bother with powering at all and just play everything sideways. So that's, we still need a card for that. So I guess if we want to get a spell, we have to power it. So what about using the white crystal to turn a black die white, which gives us 2 tokens, so that's 4 influence. With a sideways card, since we did not use the source die yet, it's actually counting as 3, and we will probably not use it, otherwise it would be illegal anyway, but we don't need it probably, because if we then power call to arms, we can now use the ability of one of the units, as if it were one of your recruits. We still would have to pay for this, but the point is that we can get 2 red or 2 blue tokens, one of them being a crystal, so we can decide for Fireball or Space Bending without the need for the source. And we will even get a matching crystal of that color. And I think as much as I like time bending, just for the last night to gamble on that, I think I'd rather do one really great approach instead of 2 mediocre ones, let's put it like this. So I think I will activate the fire mages to get a red token and a red crystal. And I'm paying this with the 8 influence I constructed here, -1 due to interaction, for 7 to learn Fireball. Or more importantly, the Firestorm. Alright, so I think this might be better for us. Even if we screw up, we need 5 movement. But then again, with all these skills like this, it should be easy enough to move there. I don't think that's a big downside. Which means that we do not reveal the garrison. And this is now the end of the 3rd day. Alright, so this brought us Expose. Well, we would have revealed it anyway. And we still have to remember that we still have the Tome of All Spells anyway as an artifact. So we can cast any of these spells without paying the mana, especially not a black one, to assault a city. So we could even use Mass Expose without picking that up. But we are still at the Mage Tower. That's the one advantage for this. So we're flipping to the Knight side, and let's deal with the dummy first. So this is a horrible combination of giving him a blue card and a blue crystal that might come back to bite us. And at this point I will get rid of Restoration, since I probably do not need this, unless I'm so battered up from the first battle that I wish I had it. But I think I'd rather look for other spells. So the Frost Bitch goes into his deck, and we will definitely skip Learning. So we would have the option to do an underground attack, or use the Flame Wave, which is a scaling spell, especially since it can scale block, which combined with counter attack is quite interesting. But then again, for block you can't group anyway. So that's quite pointless to scale that actually. We are shuffling the dummy deck and hope we do not hit too many blue cards. Well, hitting 1 or 2 would already be bad. We ready the units and ready our skills. Let's get rid of the tactic cards. And we do have the option to either go first or use Mana Search. And judging from the first assault, maybe it's not the worst idea if there's actually black mana in the source. So we might want to take Mana Search after all. So the final silver unit is Guardian Golems. And the 2 gold units are Freezers and the Autumn Mages, finally. Since they do not have the exclamation mark like the Delphana Masters, I think I can just hire them with Call to Glory, so that might be a play here to replace one of my units with the Autumn Mages. We do have quite a huge deck, but I don't think we have that many wounds in there, maybe even none. Yeah, we did heal everything, that's quite nice. We do have a fair amount of spells with the Firestorm, the Call to Glory, Tome of All Spells even, so technically even more spells, the counter attack obviously, the Ambush, Earthquake is the MVP, and the Wings of Night would also be nice. And we do have Charm and Possess. So let's give this a shuffle, because this will be like the most relevant part of the last night, in which order we draw our cards, and we have to make do with whatever we draw. We did pick up a little bit of Siege Attack, range attack, and something that improves all of them. So if we do an underground attack, for example, and circumvent the fortification in this way, this will also already kill a lot of enemies. But I really like the armor reduction, obviously, that Earthquake provides. But what can you do if it's the last card in the deck? So we have given this a good shuffle, and since we are not at the vicinity of either the city or the keep, we just have a hand limit of 7. So there's the Force of Nature, Wings of Wind, the Ambush, the counter attack, Swift Reflexes, Charm, and Intimidate. So not the most essential stuff yet, unfortunately. This could be helpful for the first assault, as with the siege damage and the ambush. Definitely the counter attack. So we already have some cards in hand that we might want to bring to the assault. If we don't draw any other spells, then Possess will definitely be good. So let's see what the source is. And we are kind of lucky that it comes up black, red, and green. So we do have a black mana already. So I really want to have the Call to Glory. Also picking up that Into the Heat might be very interesting. And we could use the opportunity to learn another spell. But I feel like we have too many spells already. So maybe we leave these spells to the Tome of All Spells. The Intimidate is a lot of attack. So maybe we want to keep or hold on to this as well. So we are probably going back to the spawning grounds now. Or we are not using Ambush. That might be more efficient since this is ranged attack as well. But we don't have the white crystals, that's the problem, we just have 1. Which also means that all these white spells are probably too many. But at least we could use this to just move back now with the source die and see what comes up. We could even just reach the city with our 6 movement. So this gives us 4. This will give us another 2 with any card. We have to decide. And then we could cast this, but it will cost us a crystal. But in the city, we are at +7. So that's with 4, that's 11 and 2 more. So the hiring the Autumn Mage would actually be quite trivial. And they are just so good. Even if they just, in quotes, provide us with 2 mana tongues of any color, which can be black, they will allow us to power a lot of spells. So what about if we actually want to keep the spells then? Starting from a +7, we would need 5 more influence. So we could use the Intimidate instead. So I'm tempted to also go back to learn Into the Heat, which sounds insanely good. I can't assign damage to troops then, but it's most likely not needed at that point. So if you want to pick up both, that would be 18 influence. We are at +7, so we need another 11. This is 8, so we are missing 3. Do I want to use Charm after all? It would give us a crystal if we are not using the discount, which could give us a white crystal, which we desperately need. I think we should stock up on that. So maybe that's the play, but then we would have to play yet another card for the movement. I think I definitely want to keep the siege attack, although it might not matter with mass expose and underground attack. Maybe even counter attacks then quite pointless, but I want to keep that. I don't know what's coming. We have to replace a unit anyway. At that point, it's probably the Guardian Golems. Yeah, I think I have to face the truth that we will probably not block that many enemies if we are going for siege and range attack with a way to remove fortification and actually picking up the altar mages, which if we want to, if we really have too much black mana, we could even made all our attacks into siege attacks. So we probably want the intimidate and just use the counter attack for movement. So that's the movement 6 we would need to cross the wasteland into the White City with the source die. This is why this only counts as 2, so that's 6 movement. Unfortunately, we then have to use a crystal for intimidate. We probably will have to use this crystal to get a crystal. Is this worth it? Looks a bit pointless. But again, we need 7, 8 is 15. So we hire the mages. I need 3 more for Into the Heat. So it would be the influence 3 that we are needing. Yeah, I'm flipping this, getting a white crystal. Taking a white crystal to the inventory, so it's net neutral. It's just an influence card then at that point. So we are at 4, 12, 19. We are picking up the altar mages and Into the Heat. So I think we do replace the golems because they are not offensive and we just go all out offense. Replacement card is a Blood Rage. We still haven't decided on a tactic. My feeling is I should not get screwed over with the source, so I'm taking Mana Surge, and I hope that I prepared the deck well. We added a blue card, but it's not the end of everything. It's at that point a 21 card deck, I think, and 1/5 of these are blue cards, 5 of them. So it's not that likely to actually hit one. We have to chance it, I think. Which does mean that before we do our first turn, the dummy actually acts, which is a blue card right away, which is quite nice. And we end on the green. So this already means the odds are more in our favor now. So we are now in our first turn. The dummy goes before Wolfhawk. And I will not reroll the source currently. Although maybe I want to reroll the red die. I want to keep the green and the black definitely, but I will use Mana Surge in my first turn to reroll the red one. And it also comes up green. So that's the first turn. So we've already played 4 of our cards. The die we used comes up white, which is quite nice. And now we are in the vicinity of our keep. So we are at a hand limit of 10 again, which is quite important. Into the Heat, of course, Shield Bash, Tome of All Spells, Firebolt, Rage, March, and a Rage. So with this nice city combination where I can buy all these nice things, I'm always thinking about if I should just continue and, for example, pick up Spellforge, get more crystals. But I think we should really get going, and I think I want to move into the keep now, which is the March. We can again use a source die for this to not spend any crystals. What do we want to keep? So we currently want to keep the Wings of Wind and the Tome of All Spells, definitely. We do definitely want Into the Heat, which might be an MVP here. Shield Bash is actually quite questionable at that point. But there might be things that we just can't kill. But we do have lots of different elements and Know Your Prey, so I'm not too worried. So with the Tome of All Spells, we can definitely use Mass Expose or Underground Attack. I think Mass Expose is just better. It just saves us the movement, basically, but Mass Expose also gives us a range attack 3. And then we don't need to turn everything into siege attack, so we can even use the Altar Mages just for black mana. Or to give our range attacks like Cold Fire Element. That might also be interesting. But I think the 2 black mana is just too good. So siege attack is actually not that important. Range attack will do. So I'm actually debating if rages do that much. As the same as the Shield Bash sounds a bit crazy. But I think I want to keep my range attack and siege attack and see if we can just blast the city out of the sky, basically. So I'm dropping all these cards. This might be a really bad decision without even knowing the defenders yet. Do I reroll the white one? No, definitely not the white die. This is what we need for mana draw and since we do not have that many crystals of these colors. So let's reroll the die. Comes up depleted. And we did move out of the city to the keep. That was the whole point of the exercise. But this was our second turn and the dummy goes before us. So we almost finished our first turn before we even did the dummy's first turn. So this is why I'm a bit out of sync. But he did his short turn and we did our first turn where we moved to the city and hired the Altar Mages and picked up Into the Heat. Then he would have played another card, which is again blue, so nice, red and white. So with the first 6 cards, we've already eliminated 2 of the 5 blue cards. So we have really all the time that we need. And now is our second turn, which we just did. So we moved back to the keep and groomed our hand a bit. So we should have drawn at the end of the turn. Still to a hand limit of 10, so 4 cards. There's the Earthquake, the MVP. Promise, probably not that interesting. Determination we might toss. March we might actually toss. So let's see. We still have a huge deck in front of us. And the Tremor definitely goes to the MVP list here. So this was our drawing. And now, before the third turn, we do not forget the dummy. White, red, and finally we hit a blue. And we do have 5 blue crystals. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So there's one more blue in there, and there's 7 cards left. So even if we hit red, it will just be 6 cards. So unless we hit the last blue card here, we do have 4 turns now. Alright, so I do want to hit the temporal portal, if possible. I think I want to hold on to the Wings of Night just to be safe. Maybe to abort 1, 2, or 3 attacks which we just can't kill from range. But all these things probably don't help us that much. So I will get rid of these 3 cards. So we are drawing the next 3, which is the Mana Storm, a Stamina, and a Threaten. Okay, so this is the problem. If you already have cards that you're looking for, you're not going through your deck fast enough, and then you're just idling around. And I will spend this turn to discard these 2 cards and play the Mana Storm. I should have used the Mana Surge. So comes up green, but I will use the Mana Storm now, just with the white die, so not to power it, and then get a white crystal and reroll it immediately. So it's green now, but we do get a white crystal using this. So we have 2 crystals of each color now, and then we draw again. There's a Tirelessness, a Swiftness, and a Tranquility. That's actually quite good, but let's first look what the dummy is doing. So red, blue, finally. So there's no more blue card in the deck, and the red one, which is 3 more, red, green, and white. So there's 1 card left. So we have 3 turns now. So we are using a green die just to draw. So this is technically range attack, and we are drawing 2 cards. And there's the temporal portal, and there's the mana draw, which means that we will use a blue crystal now to also power the temporal portal and don't lose much more time to jump 1 space in time. I will then also just toss the Tirelessness. This I've played, these 2 cards. Get rid of the crystal, reroll the die. Do I want to reroll the green one? So let's see, how much green do we need? We need 1 for Earthquake, and the Sorceress we probably will not lose all fortifications because we will use Mass Expose anyway. So we rather need white here. And then there's only the concentration once we draw it. So there's actually not that much green. So I will reroll this. Comes up blue. It's currently the color I've least from. So, alright, so it's the natural reroll, which comes up red. That might be quite good because we have a lot of red with Into the Heat, Catapults, but the Fire Golems definitely if we want to activate them. So now we are in the range of our keep with an active temporal portal. So we do already have 9 cards in hand. Oh, we should look at the garrison before we decide anything. So once we step there with the temporal portal, we actually reveal the garrison, so we can think about how many cards do we actually draw, how many do we have in the deck, and do we want to get rid of anything else. So it's 3, 6, 9. We are at a hand limit of 12 now with the temporal portal. So it's 3 more cards. So if you toss 2, we will draw everything. But then again, it might not be good to draw everything. And I think we don't definitely need something. We have Into the Heat, we have Earthquake, we have Mass Expose. We have to actually toss a white card to cast this. But we can get rid of a Swiftness, for example. I don't think I want to exhaust my deck. If the first assault is actually not enough, then maybe I need another turn. But I can't imagine that it's not enough. Alright, let's reveal the garrison. So the second Megalopolis is level 14, so 2 times 7. Which means we have 1 dungeon enemy and 1 keep enemy. The keep enemy stack is actually quite small, so we could even... Well, there's still 8 tokens or so. Then we have 4 Mage Tower units, and then 2 city enemies. And again, I hope this makes it probably much easier than 11 city, because we would have, well, just 5 tokens, but 3 city enemies. Okay, so the difference really is instead of 1 city enemy, we have these 4, so this is definitely harder. But then again, if you have a scaling spell like Earthquake, that's almost a joke, because some of these tokens do really not have much armor. So let's see, from worst to best, we do have Guardsmen, so fortified armor 7. We do have a Hydra. Then we have Fire Mages. We have Sorcerers. We have Monks, Savage Monks, and another Savage Monks. But again, they don't have high armor value, so they will just be cannon fodder, I think. And finally, the tougher tokens are Gunners, but they are not that tough to defeat. And Freezers, again, not tough to defeat. So this is the garrison we revealed. And we are about to draw up, unless we want to discard something. So at that point, I could do the whole damage calculation, but I think I'd rather draw up, and then we just won't see 2 of the cards, because I would not know what actually to toss. But we don't have unlimited mana. To be quite frank, we need 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and any mana we want to use to power those. So that's pretty much the better part of our crystals. We still need black mana, so the Alter Mages are probably just black mana. So maybe we are not using mana draw after all, but it depends on the spell we might still draw. Actually, we should draw the spells, because we have at least a Fireball missing. And for 1 red mana, it's doing 5 damage instead of just 3. So maybe the play here is actually to play the Firebolt. That's 1 card. Get a red token. I don't think I will have any trouble of getting rid of this by activating these 3. And if I draw the Fireball, even more so. And we keep this with reflexes over the swiftness, because I don't think I have that much white mana. So even if I want to activate the spell and the mana draw, it's already 2. The tome needs to discard another white. I need to discard another white card with the tome. So currently this would be this card. Maybe the safety measurement of the Wings of Wind is actually not necessary, but we definitely use the tome, we definitely use the Earthquake, and definitely into the heat. So there's not anything I want to risk there. We definitely want the mana draw. So this would be another range attack card and another siege attack card. And this is our safety spell. So with playing the Firebolt, which we should have done earlier, because then we would already have seen enough cards. I am at 8 with a hand limit of 12 currently. 3 from the Supply Chain, 2 from the Temple Portal. So I can draw 4 cards, so there's just 1 card that I will not draw. I think I will just risk this. I do not want to risk getting knocked out or something. Well, actually, we do see the tokens now. Let's see what abilities they actually have. So all physicals are brutal and all the elementals are increased. But I won't think it will matter, to be honest. No, who cares? We just draw cards now. So we're drawing 4 of the 5 cards. There's the concentration, nice, a crystallized, that can be helpful. And improvisation is always helpful. And there's the call to arms or call to glory, which sadly leaves the Fireball. Well, we can do without the Fireball. So we do have access to the freezers now. Let's see, the crystallize is probably only useful to recolor, so not that useful actually. Well, we can recolor a source die, but I'm tempted to just use them to move into the city, because we don't have any movement card here currently. So let's just get rid of them, because I don't think I will use it. They just don't have any range attack, and I think we will be done quite quickly with this city, to be honest. So this would assault a city. Let's play it later. We would then definitely have an array of things we want to do here. So let's pick this up and bring it in a different order. So we will use into the heat. I think that's quite clear. So all our units have the attacks and blocks increased by 3. We will then also cast the Earthquake. It's most essential. So we will pay a mana here. And we will probably use the black mana here. Let's see if we use the Alter Mages for black mana or not. So with the Tome of All Spells, we will discard... Actually, we could discard the Call to Arms as the white card. So let's see how we move. Let's, for the moment, just put this here, so this will be enough movement. So we could use Tome of All Spells with the Call to Arms to discard a white card. And this will cast us the Mass Expose. But no, let's rewind that for a second and rethink this, because at that point, let's just see what we are up against currently. So there is a frost-resistant or ice-resistant group. There's a fire-resistant group. Then there are the sorcerers, which are not affected by spells, so we have to keep that in mind. And then there's the regular, and there's not even a physical resistant group at all. So what the Earthquake does is reduce the armor by 4. And this time we are not in a white city, so this will have full effect. So we are at 2 and 2, which is 4. At 1 and 3, which is another 4, that's 8. Then we have 2 times 1, that's 10. So this is fortified. Maybe we should make a fortified group or a double fortified group. So another 3, that's 13. And then the full 6, which is 19, which is laughable considering that we have into the heat. So let's see how much siege damage we can actually muster. So concentration on Force of Nature would be 6. That would cost me another green. So the catapults is 5, that's 11. No, it's 8 more, so that's already 14. I think this will be a quite quick battle. So let's try to assign this. So this combination, for example, the gunners, the fire mages and the freezers, they have a combined armor total of just 2, 1 and 3, which is 6, which is just killed with this. So the siege damage of a concentrated Force of Nature just kills these 3 tokens. Then we have 8 fire attacks, so none of these are actually resistant against this. So that's 6 and 8, because this is not reduced because of arcane immunity. So this is 12 minus 4 is 8, so this would be taken care of by the catapults. I would then activate the sorcerers with a white crystal. Choose an enemy loses all fortifications. Instead of being double fortified, they are not fortified at all. And it's range attack 3. So if I activate the shock troops first, actually I should do that anyway. then it's far too much already. Oh yeah. So if I activate them first, these are actually having siege attack 9 plus 3 plus 1. So we have to find another token for this. So we can just add one of these. These are just one life tokens anyway. This is not increased, but the sorcerers, so the shock troops themselves are already range attack 4 due to Into the Heat. And the sorcerers then have 6, 7. So the sorcerers alone will kill them, which means that we have a range attack of 4 lying there with a token that only has 1 life. So we can use, for example, the Wings of Wind. What do I actually want to keep at that point? Do I want to move anywhere? Probably not. I can just interact and just buy stuff. So it doesn't matter too much. So we are not moving. So we're discarding this, and then we can use expose for another range attack 2 to expose this enemy. And we have so much damage. It's ridiculous. Actually, let's make it much easier. We don't need all this. I'm so overpowered that it actually hurts. So I can just use the deadly aim here to increase it by 1. And then we can just put it here because it's just 1 armor. We didn't even use Know Your Prey, but it doesn't matter, I think. So we should probably hold on to Crystallize. Is there anything I want to do afterwards? We probably have to reveal another core tile to find something useful to do. Yeah, let's not think about too much. So let's just move to the city, and then we do not even use all these cards here. And we don't need a spell offer, nothing. So that's quite easy with the right combination of units. And we did not even use the Alter Mages. That's the funny part about it. So we could try to salvage some of the crystals, for example, by using the red die. Yeah, we already used 1 source die, but then let's use the mana draw to pick up another source die and just keep one of the crystals. All right, so let's play that through one more time. So we are moving into the Red City. This is a city assault, so we are losing 1 reputation. We are then using Into the Heat with a crystal and casting Tremor with the black source die and a green crystal. At that point, all other attacks are +3. All enemy units that are fortified, there's none that's never fortified, get armor -4. We then use Deadly Aim with concentration and the Force of Nature with another green crystal. So we only had 2 for a combined siege attack of 7. Oh, I did make the Goldix misplay again. That's sad. Why do I always think it's 6? So it's just 5 siege attack. So we are back to killing just, in quotes, these tokens here. So 2, 1 is 3. It's not even these. Oh, well, we are to 6. Okay, so with Deadly Aim it's 6 now, not 7. So 3, 2, and 1. So these are all dead. Hopefully we can group that somewhere. So these are taken care of. Then we use the shock troops for a range attack of 1 and the sorcerers for a range attack of 3. These are both increased by 3 due to Into the Heat. And the shock troops also increase the sorcerers by 1. So this is then 4. This is then 7. So it's 11 total, which kind of means, but it's only range attack. That's the problem here. Now I wish I had the fireball. All right, but it would definitely just wipe out the guardsman because it removes all fortification. So siege damage doesn't work on this. So why it's good to use expose on this. And it's more than that because we generated already with the sorcerer 7 range attack, and there's a wasted range attack of 4 just sitting here. Once we activate the catapults, we get siege fire attack 5 plus 3 from Into the Heat. That's 8 plus 1 from the shock troops. That's 9, which is so much damage that I don't know what my problem is, because this is only 2, 2, and 1 is only 5. So I didn't even account for Into the Heat yet. So we can just add that here and be done with it. So we probably don't even need all that stuff. The catapults alone with 9 siege fire attack would kill 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. We can't group the fire resistant tokens. I think we are just trying to optimize too much, to be honest. So 9 damage, 6, 7, 8. It doesn't matter. No, I forgot that the sorcerer are arcane immune. You can see how this can be confusing with these larger types of assaults. So that's actually 6 damage that we need. So maybe we keep it simple and kill the sorcerers with the 6 damage we can muster here. That's 6 siege damage, which just kills the sorcerers. And then we don't ever need to think about this again. 6 plus 2 plus 1. And it's unmodified. And we then have the catapults with 9 damage. This is where so I didn't account for a reduction of 4. 9 damage means I can't touch those. Yeah, the resistance are now not a problem. This happens when you shuffle it around too much. So yeah, keeping it easy would have been a good idea, but we can't. So let's take on the fire resistance stuff with this combination of just physical damage here. For these we need just 3 damage. So we have 3 more damage to deal, which is one of those and one of those. That's a combined of 3 damage. 2 and 1 is 3 and 1 is 4. 3 is 7. Yeah, there's just 2 damage left, so it's just the Hydra. Let's take the resistance stuff out here, yeah. 6 damage, 1, 2, 3. Okay, then we have 9 fire damage, and nothing is fire resistant here. That already needs 6. Yeah, now we are back to where we already were, I think. So 6, 7, 8, 9, which leaves 1 token. If we can't expose something else by using expose, for example, then that's bad news. Of course, we can just block them and just kill them in a conventional way. If we don't use our units for anything else, then we can just, well, for example, use the fire golems to block. They have block 6 because of Into the Heat. This just blocks them, and then the altar mages can finish them in a stylish finishing move, maybe as the last token, because they have a cold fire attack of 5 if I don't spend any mana. I could obviously just use mana draw with a white token to generate 2 black mana and then make all our attacks siege attacks, and then it would be even more ridiculous. So, but let's keep it a bit sane. Let's just block and kill them. Total overkill for this 1 token, because they just have an attack. Well, we don't know. Let's not do it with the altar mages, and maybe not Slut. I just can't bring myself to spend these units. They just have 1 armor, so any card sideways will kill them. Unfortunately, we can't ignore the Arcane Immunity or the Standard Fortification. Do I want to cast anything in the next turn? Probably not. And I don't want to break it, so if I toss a green card, we can do an underground attack. No, just a travel. I would have to break it otherwise. Okay, I don't want to do that. Alright, so let's use the tome with the Wings of Wind to cast Exposed After All, expose them, and just kill them. Even just the range attack from the Expose itself will just kill them. Okay, so one more time. Movement, Reputation, mana draw for 2 dice, Into the Heat for +3, Earthquake for -4. This is a total of 5, 6 damage. This is 2, 3, 6. Physical, then don't have physical resistance. Activate the Shock Troops just for fun. Don't actually need a range attack. Activate the Sorcerers. They now have a range attack of 7, which just kills the Guardsmen once we've removed all fortifications. Activate the Catapults for a fire attack of 9. That's 1. That's 7, because they are not affected. And it's 2 more, that's 9. So these are all defeated. Then I'm using the Tome of All Spells to discard the Wings of Wind, cast Expose. Target enemy loses all fortification and resistances. Discard range attack 2, and they just have an armor of 1, so they are dead. Alright, I think we don't need to check that again. These are the source dice. These are all the tokens we used. These are all the cards that we used. We just did kill everything, didn't take a wound. So we do have these cards left, but let's tally up the reputation first. Well, I probably won't do anything after the turn. There's nothing to crystallize because we have used mana draw. Yeah, so there's nothing to do. Let's just reroll them, red and blue. And we get a total of 10. Another 10 is 20. That's 12 and 8. It's another 20. So that's 40 fame in total. Since we are already at 115, this brings us to 155. It's a board of 120, so we had 35. All right, this was a lot of fame. So we do have the same number of shields now here, also 8, but I'm not marking this, which means we win the scenario. The dummy is not taking another turn, but we do. So there was nothing left to level or something like this, so we just take our last card, which is the Fireball. We could replace the Shock Troops with the Freezers, just to have an even better army. We can get a Crystal still. And we can technically still buy something for our influence, since we had +7 anyway. We do have an improvisation left and a red mana and a source that would bring us to 12, so we could even pick up an artifact. Picking up another crystal won't do anything, so it's quite pointless. Well, we do have still this skill here, so let's take the blue crystal here. And then let's pick up another crystal. Since we don't have one, let's pick up a green one. Then picking up a spell is pretty much out of the question. It's really just score optimization. I don't feel like it. Well, we can use the Altar Mages to get 2 mana tokens of any color. That's interesting. So we can just cast Call to Glory, for example. Or we just make it like this, which is influence 3, 7 is 10, 12. So we can pick up an artifact. And with the Altar Mages, we are using Call to Glory, which allows us to pick up the Freezers and replace the Shock Troops. So we have an elite row of units, and that's pretty much it that we already used. So we do get another artifact. So just out of curiosity, the choice would have been between the Emerald Ring and the Horn of Wrath. So let's just take maybe the mana that we lacked, and let's put back the horn. And that was the final turn. So we don't reroll that, pointless. And this concludes Solo Conquest with 2 Megalopolis of level 12 and 14. So mild increase from 11-11 last time. But I do want to check out how these tokens fare if I go with 2 cities of lower levels. As you can see, 11 would be like 5 and 6, which comes out quite perfect for the city. It's just the same combination actually. So this time it's not. This is a huge difference here. 3 dungeon, 3 mage tower and a city enemy. And you have 1 and 3 city enemies otherwise. Now I'm curious. So this time it would be again 6 tokens, 3 dungeon, 2 keep, 2 city. And it's 2 dungeons, 3 city and no keep units at all. And here the 5 and the 6 is 4 keep, 3 city to 1 keep, 4 city. So it's interesting that it's actually the same for this combination here. There can be nasty tokens with nasty resistances. But again, a dungeon enemy, yeah, I don't know. So I think it might... If you get access to scaling things, which scale with tokens and you get more shields, more influence and so on, the Megalopolis is actually easier. So to have a real challenge, we should probably go to, I don't know, at least something like 18, 17, 18. This would already mean 4 keep and 5 city enemies. Yeah, but it might be asking for trouble. So let me think about this, or if I want to do another solo conquest at all, or if I want to do one of the other scenarios next. But I think this was really well. We did have a rocky start with the ancient ruins here, where we got into some trouble. But we then used an altar here, took the keep, made very good hiring decisions, a mage tower, another ancient ruin where we got a spell and an artifact. And we really made our way through the middle of the map, quite efficient with the reveals. And then this city combination was quite interesting for the ability to pick up units, to recruit whatever we want, and advanced actions. So that's actually quite interesting. But then again, if we would get the access to artifacts, for example, or spells, that would also be interesting. So what I really like about the Megalopolis is that once you take one, you are really taking off. So maybe I should stagger it even more and, for example, go for a 16-22, like let's grab for the stars. We will see. So let's make a quick score calculation for those who are interested. So we start with the achievement bonuses without the leaders, obviously, which starts with 2 fame per spell. So we have 5 spells in the end, so that's 10 fame. Then we have the advanced actions. So we have 9 advanced actions. That's another 9 fame. Then we have 2 artifacts, because I tend to break them quite early and we didn't get that many. So that's 4 fame. Pairs of crystals, we have 6. It's another 3 fame. Then we have the greatest leader with the level of our units, and we made it to just elite units. So 4 times 3 is 12, and another 4 is 16. None of them are wounded, obviously. Then we have the Conqueror, which are fortified sites, and the monasteries. We haven't seen a single monastery in the whole game, but we did take 3 keeps, like 1 in the beginning, 1 in the middle, where we didn't actually mark it with our shield, so that was an oversight. So 3 keeps and 2 mage towers and no monasteries. That's 5 sites, that's 10 fame. Then we have the greatest adventurer, which are all the adventuring sites. So we did ancient ruins, I think 3. So these 3 here. And then we did the spawning grounds in the end, but that's pretty much it. There was no tomb, no dungeon. So there's just the 4 ruins and the spawning grounds, which is 4, so 8 fame. And we did not pick up any wounds. And finally, we do have 10 per conquered city that just count as 1 city each Megalopolis. So that's 20, 15 if all were conquered. So that's the usual 35 we get. So from the 95 space, would have to go to the 130 space, that's 10. Then there's a co-op only skill, 30 points for each unplayed round we don't have, 1 per card in a dummy deck, and 5 if end of round was not announced, so that's 6 points. Yeah, and that's it. So we are at 16 fame, plus 2 times 120, that's 256. I think that's pretty close to what we had last game, even though it felt more epic. But yeah, I don't think that score's that important. I like the challenge and achieving the goal. And this was Solo Conquest Double Megalopolis 12-14. See you in the next game.